this is our first taste of what is a season with expectations.
Look, there has not been many opening days following up a winning season over the last 15
you know how few
years.
times
I mean,
they've gone to the playoffs 2 years in a row in their franchise history? It's pretty small, man.
Yeah, and we all know what 14 and 15 meant. And, by the way, Lorenzo Cain going to be one of two individuals that are going to throw out the ceremonial first pitch as they're starting their campaign this year to celebrate the 10-year anniversary from 2015 and the 40-year anniversary already, my goodness, for Willie Wilson and the 85 team. So they'll both be throwing out the first pitch today if you're making your way out to Kauffman. But you're right. I mean, there's been very few years where you were able to go to opening day following up an unbelievable year and think that they can build on it. Now, nothing to build on after 15, right? Like, you won the championship, but you get what I'm saying. There's been year after year of low expectation going in. Not the case. This team won 86 games a year ago. They went out and clearly focused on getting guys that can help them get on base more, most notably Jonathan India, who is one of the best at getting on base in baseball. And right away, hopefully we see a professional at-bat, and he gets on base in his first at-bat today. That'd be awesome to set the tone for the entire season.
I want him to take a walk right away.
Sure, that works.
Just a walk right away. That's what I do here, kids.
Yeah.
That's how I operate.
But, we'll take your texts on this, too, 913-586-7965 on the J Southland Tow Service text line. But fan expectation, I think to various degrees, you can be skeptical. I get it, right? Like, I think as Royals fans and growing up in the city, you have good reason to be skeptical. However, this team, what they did last year, I would hope, has softened the skepticism going into this season, knowing who Bobby Witt Jr. is. There's no debate anymore. He's the guy that's going to win an MVP award at some point in his career. I think it's going to be this year, as a matter of fact. I think so do you as well. And you have a couple guys on the mound beginning today with Cole Ragans, who, by the way, we spoke to yesterday, and you'll hear our conversation with Cole coming up at 10:30, who was towards the top 5, top 3 in baseball in strikeouts. They have legit pieces, part of this franchise, to make you believe that they can raise the bar, and I think the bar should be raised for them, and we can get into exact win totals and stuff, but I think when spring training began and we started having Vern on, we were talking about expectation. For me, my expectation is go win the AL Central. That is my expectation. Look, making the playoffs, I'm not going to say it's a bad year. Of course not. But my expectation is that this team not only gets back to the playoffs, but they get an AL Central title back here in KC.
I think that should be the biggest goal of the entire season for them right now, right? I mean, that's how they got to think about it is last year we had to earn a right to get a home game in the wild card round. They knocked that out. They got a guaranteed home game back here in Kansas City. They got to be thinking, no, I want to be playing in the divisional round with games at home with a chance to do this on the baseball end. And I do not think that that's in any way crazy or out of the question or anything between. I was looking between, because I think the pessimistic fans do this. They do I saw a team in 2003 once have a blip. And then they remember the 2004, 5, and 6 were the single 3 worst year stretch in this franchise's history. They've never been worse for 3 consecutive years than they were that year. And that team did have some things that the Royals had, right? Like a future Hall of Famer maybe in Carlos Beltran. A really good middle-of-the-order bat like Mike Sweeney. They had good offensive players. But here, do you remember the starting pitchers that year? They, out of their skis, Darryl May, Chris George, Runelvis Hernandez, Kyle Snyder, and Jose Lima.
Yeah, different.
The reason why you don't have to worry about this, big backslide. I'm not saying, the playoffs are given you for free or it's easy and there's no questions. But the reason why you don't have to panic about, a second-year slide or the decline or these things happening is the rotation. Cole Ragans, Seth Lugo, Michael Wacha, and all the guys, and I have very high expectations for Chris Bubich this year. And so, because he seems to be the second guy who emerged out of that class after Brady Singer.
Who do you think is the biggest swing player for this entire, good or bad,
for
this? From a win perspective to winning the division, the guy that has to maybe swing his career in a different direction, or if it doesn't swing, that can prevent them. Chris Bubich is a strong name on the pitching end. So that's a good name. My mind was going more of course on the offensive side because of where they ranked out offensively. The obvious name, I think, from a hitting standpoint, of course, MJ Melendez. For him individually, it's a big swing year. He knows it. Everybody knows it. For this team, if all of a sudden, it's a big if, but if the stance change and everything clicks for him, and he's not only going to give you the defense that now he gives you in left field, but if he can be the bat that you've hoped this entire time that he could be, I mean, that is where the division and bigger than that becomes in play. I mean, that's how high the ceiling still is, and I understand that at some point we got to stop saying, hey, he's young. We all understand, this is the year for him to figure it out. If he doesn't, then we're having a completely different conversation about his career and where he is in the future. But this season, he's the biggest swing for this entire franchise. And I think you're right on the pitching. And Chris Bubich, I mean, later on in the year, I'm still interested to see what Kyle Wright could bring to the table if there's an injury for somebody else.
Or if Chris Bubich hits an inning limit and all of a sudden they need some extra help. That's the key, too, is that at some point Chris Bubich might not be able to go the total number of innings that we're talking about. I know we're going to talk about Cole Ragans here in a minute, and we're going to hear from Cole Ragans. Golden Eye caught up with him one-on-one or two-on-one, I guess, depending on how you look at it. Yesterday, outside the clubhouse, as he gets ready to make an opening day start for the second straight year for the Royals. But let's get it out there. We know how this works. It's opening day. You and I, Drew, we have to make, and I hold you accountable. This is how it works on the text line. You get it in now. You don't get to claim you thought they were going to win 60 games in October if things go poor, and you don't get to claim you had them at 120 if it goes great. You got to make your predictions now. So where are we season win total wise? I'm at 89.
Okay.
I thought about it for a long time. I was in the mid-90s for a little while. I was in the mid-80s for a little while. I truthfully think there probably is a pretty decent swing between 85 and 95 wins that this team is capable of. If you want me to be honest, I think it's probably firmly in that range. So I chose the middle at 89 wins. I think that that's enough to win the division this year. A lot of times in this division, 92, 91, that's about the number that gets it done. I think it's a little lower this year because I think these teams are in a deep, deep wash. One will fall off of the four that almost made the postseason last year because that's just life. I don't think that's the Royals. The White Sox are miserable. And I think 89, I think they win the AL Central at 89. So I want to make that clear with my win total, that I actually think that comes with an AL Central title.
So looking at the division and how the Royals factor in, I don't believe three teams are coming out of the Central again and making the postseason. I also think while the White Sox are going to be just horrific and probably still the worst team in baseball, I don't think they're only winning, 40 games or 41 games like they did a year ago. I think they're in the 52 to 56 range. So my point being is I don't know if the Royals and anybody else in the division is going to go, 14-1 or whatever it was.
No.
So there's a couple wins there.
Everyone's numbers are coming back a little there, yeah.
But look, I have faith that even if my biggest question, honestly, is health and is there any regression with starting pitching? And if I say, okay, I think that's happening, well, then where are they making that up? Is it offense? Is it the bullpen? Is it both? Which one does it have to be? I'm very confident in this bullpen heading in. We're going to hear some comments from John Sherman in the 11 o'clock hour. In fact, we now are also told John Sherman's going to join us, the Royals chairman and CEO, at 11:30. And one thing he said yesterday was like they gave it the good old college try, right, to go get a big bat.
Yeah.
Instead, they said, well, we can bolster our bullpen. That's an area we're willing to go spend too. And I think this bullpen is going to become a huge strength of this team. So if a guy like Lugo or Waka ends up sliding back a little bit, or just health gets them because they were so healthy last year, the bullpen, I think, can help make up for some of that. That's my thought process. I also believe Jonathan India getting on base changes everything for the top of the lineup. If he's the player we all believe he is, if he's the guy that the Royals believe he is, and if you just look at what he's been in his career, that certainly last year and even the year before that he is, well, all of a sudden he's getting on base. He sets the tone for Bobby. Look at the RBI numbers for him. The RBI numbers for Vinnie can go up. Everything changes at the top of the order for this team. There's a little less pressure maybe on the three guys that really carried this team. Look, Bobby's going to have to still be that dude, but three guys really carried them. Can they get a fourth guy in the mix or a fifth guy in the mix? Long story short, I'm giving you a long answer, but my total, we're not far off. Last year, all three of us on this show were within a win of each other. Now, we were all too low. I think I said 78, you might have said 77, and Drew might have said 76, or in some order, right? I don't remember the exact order, but we were 77, 78, 76, something like that. Yeah. This year, I'm at 90. So we have our social media video. I think Kramer will put it out if he hasn't put it out already. We went around. That was the total I gave on Monday. I thought about changing it, but 90-win season, which I do also. You said 89 gets it done. I think 90 gets it done to win the AL Central. And that's recognizing that I'm not saying that there aren't questions, that there aren't flaws. Of course there are. There's a lot of questions we're going to have to figure out.
Pretty much everyone in the order, 5 through 9.
But the rest of the division, go by team by team, and tell me there aren't questions and flaws with the Guardians who they're going to face off with today and what they did or didn't do. The Twins, we know the injury history and everything that exists there. The Tigers did not get Alex Bregman. I think they got, of course, the best pitcher in baseball, at least in the American League, in Skubal, right in the rotation, who's going to be a problem all year. But do they have enough elsewhere? Did that run at the end of the season for the Tigers? Does that carry over, or do they just have a hell of a month and a half of baseball?
I think the India thing is the easiest thing I was trying to make a justification for somebody who was saying, hey, how is the offense better? They're just doing the same thing. They're just banking on Michael Massey or MJ Melendez or Hunter Renfroe or, even the players that we don't think like an offensive explosion is coming from, like Kyle Isbell or Michael Garcia, but they're just counting on the same guys to be better. I'm like, no, they're not. More than half of Bobby Witt Jr.'s last year home runs got hit with nobody on base because no one was ever on base ahead of him. Tommy Pham hit leadoff for this team last year.
Yep.
Michael Massey hit leadoff for this team last year. Yuli Gurriel hit cleanup for this team for a chunk last year. Are we just pretending like Jonathan India being on base 70 additional times
change
and
the
somebody
entire
who
time.
wasn't? I mean, it could make their – look, are they going to be a deep offense? No. Is the offense still coming from the top half? Yes. But does it make a massive difference of getting offense from the top half if the guy is getting on base 70, 80 additional times than the guy who did or the guys who were this season before? Absolutely, because the one thing we know for certain based on their entire Major League Baseball history, even if Vinnie's is shorter than the other two, those three guys, Vinnie, Salvi, and Bobby, they are run producers. They know how to make people score runs. And so if there's a guy who's on base, they'll get him home. That's been the thing they've been good at all of their Major League careers, Salvi included. Salvi's always been a good run producer.
It is more than fair to have high expectations for this team, to have high win totals for this team. Doesn't mean that that's going to be the case when it's all said and done. Who knows, right? But I think if you're just going with a very, very conservative total, that's based off of prior years of being hurt, not based off of where I believe this team actually is. And where I also think the division is. Let's keep that in mind. Like if they were in the AL East, I would have a different answer on their win total probably. But they're not. They're in the AL Central. These teams, what has made the Central really fun in the last calendar year, is these teams are all really close. They're all very similar in payroll for the most part.
Yep.
And they're all in similar spots. And
they have different strengths and weaknesses, but they all have them.
And I'm looking at the text line. We'll read through some of these. I think the highest number I've seen from anybody on the text line, somebody said they're winning 95. That is a very aggressive number.
Because the over-under's at 82.5?
82.5. Low. I think
that's low. Yeah.
I think it's like right now, if you gave me $100, I would be taking the over in a heartbeat, honestly, really. Like in baseball, we all know injuries and everything can swing all of this with every team. If your best player, your second best player, deals with an injury, that's going to change everything. But someone said 90 and 72, so they're right there. 87. I'm seeing a lot of 88s.
88, the most popular number, apparently.
I think so, based off the text line from a Royals win perspective.
That's a two-game improvement from last year, and good enough to make the postseason.
The lowest, honestly, it's opening day, so everybody's feeling good. The lowest number I've seen on the text line is 87 right now. So Everybody's in a good mood, feeling great. Hopefully you're making your way out to Kauffman, and if you are, come on by. We're just to the left of Gate D. Right by, if you know where like the players are walking in, typically that's where we are broadcasting live. Vern's going to take over at 2 o'clock today. It's time for on deck season. No more hot stove season. We just saw Vern walk in. He had his game face on. He's ready to roll. He went back to the car again to grab something else. He's locked in. He's locked in and ready to go, man.
He's got stuff to do, man. He's got to go talk to Q, go talk to the players. Get ready for the On Deck show, like you said, at 2 o'clock.
We got a full show. So Cole Ragans, we caught up with yesterday on opening day. That's coming up at 10:30. A little bit later on in the show today, we're going to be joined by Ryan Lefever, Royals broadcaster, at 11:15. We're expected to have the Royals chairman and CEO, John Sherman, stop by at 11:30. The Royals GM and executive vice president, JJ Picollo, at 11:45. Brian Kenny of MLB Network going to give us a national perspective on the Royals and this division at 12:30. And then our guy, Josh Vernier, going to join us at 1 o'clock. So we are loaded on opening day here on 96.5 The Fan.
Yeah, we are busy, which is a good thing. And then obviously right here on 96.5 The Fan, you'll hear Royals baseball starting at 3 o'clock for the home opener. We are proud. If you guys missed it a couple days, multi-year extension, right?
That's right.
Going to keep hearing Royals baseball on that crystal clear FM. Still works over the 610 side, too. But, crystal clear FM. Let's talk Cole Ragans for a minute, because when you say, hey, the team should have high expectations, I feel like you can say the exact same thing about Cole Ragans. Last year, he told Major League Baseball with his performance, I am an ace. I am one of the 10 best starters in Major League Baseball. He did it with strikeouts. He did it with ERA. The only thing seemingly he came up short on that department was innings, where he had some walk problems from time to time. He's actually going to talk about that. We had a conversation with him at 10:30, where that's like the thing I think he focused on the most this offseason from a pitching perspective. But, I mean, what I expect from him to be is a top 10 starter in Major League Baseball. We should talk about him in the same likes as Skubal and the other guys, Gold, who have dominated and dominated consistently across the board, and I view him that way. I expect him to compete for the Major League lead in strikeouts. I expect him to go 6+ innings. I expect his team to win 70% of the time he starts a baseball game for them. I don't expect that at any other starter in the rotation. I expect Walker and Lugo to be good starters. I expect them to be really solid, do a nice job. But with Ragans, I expect the world.
Real quick, and I don't mean to change the subject, just briefly, I want to point out the Royals did just put out the lineup about a minute ago. Vinnie Pasquantino in the lineup today, DHing. So for those wondering about Vinnie, would he be in the lineup or not with the hamstring strain, a grade 1+ strain? He gave it a go during workout day yesterday. The Royals just put out the lineup today. No other surprises in that, but Vinnie will bat third as the DH. That means Salvi still behind the dish. Your first baseman's going to be one of the newest Royals in Kevin Biggio. So he will be playing first base today. Of course, lineup always subject to change. Something can change before we get to first pitch, but that is the plan. Out in Vinnie, our guy, in the lineup. We saw him. He was suited up, too. Some of the players in the sweats and stuff. He was suited up, blue suit, had like the ankles, the ankles showing, no socks. He was ready to go today, feeling good that he's going to play, and we were wondering if he was going to give the thumbs up or not. Honestly, and the Royals just gave him a thumbs up, and he's in the lineup.
That's the best possible news, obviously, because the initial instinct is like when he pulls that hamstring in the last spring training game, you're like, no, not this. Come on. Don't let this happen to our guy, Vinny. He doesn't deserve it. But no, he's fine. He's playing in game 1, which means he can still play 155 games this year. He gets an off day tomorrow, all the other normal stuff. And honestly, this is the most ringing endorsement of all time. Do you think if they were worried about it in any way, Gold, he'd be playing today?
Not with
162 games to go. This isn't a playoff game. This isn't like coming back from the surgery. If they were worried about it at all, Vinny would not be in the lineup. They're obviously comfortable with it. They tested it out yesterday. He was in the field yesterday, too, by the way, playing first base. I told you it was a possibility he would just be DHing.
They could do that for a couple days to start the season.
Yeah, why
too.
not? Canna and Fermin and a couple of other guys. Salvi wants to be out behind the dish for opening day. Okay, you put Canna at first. He's another on-base guy, by the way, for a lineup that is looking to get on base. He's been better at getting on base than pretty much half the Royals lineup generally in his career. They got a chance to finagle it, I think, a little bit with Vinny until, if they have any random concerns.
Again, Biggio will be playing first base today. Vinny DHing. Back to what you were saying about Cole Ragans, though. Sorry to change the topic. Just saw that come out. I know people on the text line were asking about if Vinny was going to play or not. But for Cole Ragans, it's about innings, and he wants to increase his innings limit again this year after last year. And, yes, like any pitcher, cut down his walk rate. But this was a guy that for a bulk of the season was leading the big leagues in strikeouts. He ended up finishing just short of I think it was Skubal or Crochet was right there towards the top as well. But 223 was the strikeout number for Cole Ragans this past year. And he also said, look, ultimately, and you're going to hear the conversation, ultimately it's about winning games, right? No kidding. And, we don't look at win-loss.
That comes from Bobby Down,
We don't look at win-loss for pitchers the way we used to. Like back in the day, you used to really, I think, lean into pitchers' records overall. Now it's not as much about that, the way managers utilize starting pitchers. But he was a game above 500 last year. But I would argue he pitched better than his record. That's why you shouldn't buy into the record too much. If I were to tell you Cole Ragans was 18-17, I think a lot of fans would have said, well, he pitched better than an 18-17 record, but that was his record. So you got to dive deeper into it than just looking at wins and losses.
Yeah, 223 strikeouts, as you mentioned, 228.
5 off.
The leader of Terry Skubal. Technically, there were 3 guys ahead of him, Sale, Wheeler, and Cease, but they were like strikeout ahead of him. I know he wants to go deeper into games, and he doesn't want to get worried about those innings counts. He was still top 20 in baseball in innings pitched. No, better than that even. He was still in the top 15 in innings pitched in baseball last year. He ranked 12th. They also had Seth Lugo, who ranked 2nd. That was such a key for them. Imagine how many more.
11-9. 11-9, by the way, was the record. Yeah, sorry.
Just forget for a minute, what he was able to do on that. Could you imagine how, they wouldn't have made the postseason if they didn't have Lugo and Ragans going as deep into games as they did.
Yeah.
Because the bullpen was dicey at best for a huge chunk of the season. Certainly got better once they made the deal for Urseg, but it was still questionable after that. They had started with MacArthur as a closer. They had moved these things around. It just was not a perfect system for a long time. And like you said, I highly anticipate that being a massive improvement this year. That's going to be the single biggest improvement you notice this year on their roster.
So what
do
you
they do in the bullpen?
186 in a third inning last year for Cole Ragans.
190.
You think 190 range or so?
Yeah. If he goes 190, he might lead baseball in strikeouts. Because strikeouts per inning, he probably was tops in baseball. If you think about the guys who were ahead of him, Crochet pitched a few more innings than him. Some of the guys pitched a few more innings.
Some of it was how the season ended with the Royals playoff push in the hot and trying to line it up.
he didn't make a final start, too.
That was the thing we were joking because we had a season-long bet at 80-1, I think it was, on Ragans to lead the big leagues. The fact that the Royals had locked up that playoff spot a couple days early.
I'll take the trade-off.
I know.
Forget my money.
Yeah. No, I hear you, but that's exactly why it went down the way it did.
I'm seeing an Urseg and Lugo jersey right now. Boy, they jumped on the bandwagon quick.
Fans
They
did.
said these guys are winners and they're taking us to the postseason.
Hey.
I'm throwing on an Urseg and I'm throwing on a Lugo jersey. They were walking together.
And those are two of the biggest reasons on the pitching side why this team was able to get to the postseason. But yeah, sorry, I missed that on the record. 11-9 last year was his record. My bad. I was looking at a different column on that. But Cole Ragans, of course, gets it going today. Let us know also what you're on today as far as what you think the performance is going to look like. Somebody already texted in. They said 7 or more strikeouts. A video that might be out there for best bets we did this morning. Cole Ragans alternative strikeouts, 7 or more today. I mean, that's on par for what he was capable of doing much of last season. We are broadcasting live outside of Kauffman Stadium. It is opening day 2025. Up next, we had a chance to catch up with Cole Ragans, hear his thoughts on this upcoming season, and let's go through some of our season-long bets that you guys have as well right here on 96.5 The Fan.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
When it comes to college basketball in March, one thing's for sure. Nothing's for sure. Bet the unexpected every upset every day with DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings is offering all customers a no-sweat parlay every single day. How does it work? Opt in and place a bet on any parlay. If your bet doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back in the amount of your original bet. Bet the unexpected with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use promo code 965. That's code 965 to get a no-sweat parlay every single day. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Kansas only. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. Eligibility and wagering restrictions apply. Opt in to get one no-sweat bet. No-sweat bonus bet issued in amount of losing qualifying bet. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Maximum reward and qualifying bet criteria vary. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
All power, zero compromise. Ego cordless outdoor power equipment features advanced lithium battery technology that exceeds the power and performance of gas without the noise, fuss, or fumes. From blowers and trimmers to mowers and pressure washers, one battery powers over 90 tools. No wonder it is the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power. Power beyond belief. Visit egopowerplus.com to learn more or to find an Ego retailer near you. That's egopowerplus.com.
It's spring weather in Kansas City, which brings severe weather. I told you I'm getting some work done by Century Roofing, and you should get your roof looked at too. Look, depending on the age of your roof, mine was in the middle age range. I was like, oh, do I need a new roof? I'm not sure. I had them look at it about 6 months ago. They're like, no, you don't need a new roof right now. Just need some repair work done. Cool, let's do that. Then the wind caught part of our screen porch roof. I already knew Century Roofing did quality work, so I didn't have to worry about it, even though it's a different material, right? Oh, no, it's not the standard roofing material. It's that metal roofing because it's over the screen porch. That's not a problem. They handle every different material. They get better material prices that they love to pass on the savings to their customers because they do some of that, like in-house metal fabrication for parts of those things. They've installed over 30,000 roofs in the greater Kansas City area since 1990. So you know that they can take care of it. They offer free roof replacement and repair estimates, so you don't have to pay to figure out what it might cost. They'll work with your insurance company if it deems that it needs a claim in order to get your roof fixed. They just know what they're doing. 35 years in Kansas City, voted best in Johnson County 3 years in a row. They are Kansas City's best roofing team. Trust the pillars of strength. Go with Casey-based and female-owned Century Roofing, your hometown roofing team. Go to centuryroofingkc.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6812. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-575-6812. That's 800-575-6812.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
We get it. Attention spans just aren't what they used to be. Heads in social media and eyes on Netflix. But what do people do with their ears? Well, for one, they're listening to audio. Americans spend 4.4 hours with audio every day. Oh, and you want the proof? Well, you just sat through this ad that's now approaching 30 seconds. What could you say to a potential customer in 30 seconds? Let Odyssey put together a media plan tailor-made for your unique marketing needs. Advertise with Odyssey. Visit ads.odyssey.com.
Brought to you by Urban Air.
Urban Air is where fun takes flight. With our awesome attractions, it's always an adventure. Visit urbanair.com today to find your local park and book your tickets, membership, or birthday. Urban Air, let them fly. Attractions vary by park.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Back here on Cody and Gold, we continue broadcasting live outside Kauffman Stadium, right around Gate D. Come on by. We've got our big 96.5 The Fan 10, getting set for opening day 2025. It is finally here. All the talk throughout spring training. None of that really matters anymore. It all is about today against the Cleveland Guardians. Cole Ragans gets the nod, his second opening day start. We'll keep an eye also on what maybe Matt Quatrero says a little bit later on in the show. But if you're just joining us and you're wondering maybe the question of the day, Vinnie Pasquantino, is he going to play or not? He is in the lineup as the designated hitter this afternoon. That is the plan for Game 1 of 162. Coming up at 11:15, Ryan Lefever, one of the voices of the Royals, going to join us. We'll also have JJ Picollo in the 11 o'clock hour, as well as the chairman and CEO of the Kansas City Royals, John Sherman, around 11:30. But he came out to workout day. It was open to the public. Hopefully, if you didn't make it to opening day, you made it to that. And
saw Bobby making some kids' dreams come true.
He did, and I will say, we know they've got the alternative jerseys they're going to have this year. During the workout, they were wearing the Red Show caps.
Yeah.
Those look so good.
I saw Vinnie in one yesterday. I love
They're
that.
Great look. I'm sure the team store, you can go and get one if you're wanting. Those things looked awesome. They will not be wearing those every game or anything like that, but that was something they brought out for the workout day. But you and I also caught up with today's opening day starter, Cole Ragans, and we got a chance to find out how he is thinking heading into another 2025 season. All right, we're joined here on opening day by Royals opening day starter Cole Ragans on 96.5 The Fan. So before we get into some of the opening day festivities a little bit, I know you guys were just down in Arlington, and I saw that the team went to Six Flags. I don't know, are you the roller coaster guy, or is that somebody else?
I am not a roller coaster guy. I mean, I hate flying, so a roller coaster is just not my thing. I think I went golfing instead of roller coastering because I've never liked roller coasters. I'd just sit there and watch. I'm scared of them.
I don't like is it heights in general? Because I'm terrible. They give me a hard time. I can't. Even at Kaufman now, upstairs, it's struggle.
Heights and the spinning around upside down, I'd throw up.
Have you considered you don't have a great job for I hate flying? That sentence, you know how often you fly as a big league player.
Yeah, I know. There's like 3 or 4 of us that we just look at each other when it starts getting bumpy, and we're just like, golly, cover my face and wait for it to stop.
Who's the guy on the team that I guess maybe just acts like a little kid on the roller coaster? I know you weren't there this go around. You say you were golfing, but in general.
I'm trying to think who loves like roller coasters.
Pretty much we're asking who's the biggest kid. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I saw Mac was screaming like a little girl on there one time, so definitely not him. But I don't know, honestly.
I know, like, it's still so early in your big league career. Like, how much does it still, like, the opening day part of it, right? I'm the opening day starter for the beginning of the baseball season for the Royals. How much does that still hit you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's I don't even know if I have words, It's exciting. Still get the nerves just as much as ever. Like you said, I mean, I haven't been up that long, but opening day is always exciting. I mean, even watching the guys that have been around for 10 plus years, they're super excited just like the rest of us. It's I don't think it'll ever change. It's super exciting. I'm looking forward to it. Just to see this place packed obviously gives you the jitters just seeing all the fans for the first time again. It's super exciting.
You said the jitters. So, I mean, do you still get that on an opening day?
I get that every day. Every time I pitch, I'm a very nervous guy. Hard to eat, hard to keep food down. I go through it whether it's start 1 or start 33. It doesn't matter. I'm always nervous.
I guess like to that point a little bit. Like there was a whole big spring training storyline of like you got hit kind of hard in a spring training game. It's like, nah, I don't like that. Like maybe the words like it pisses me off still, right? Like to be bad in a spring training game, like. Does the nervousness come from the competitive part, or like how do you think that works for you? If
I definitely
even in a
think
spring training game, you don't like having bad outings,
Yeah, I mean, you always hear, it's spring training. Don't pay attention to spring training numbers, and there's a part to that. But overall, you still don't want to go out there and suck. I mean, I still get pissed off about it. But no, I mean, just I think it's more of like I get nervous because you want to do so good. Like it's a thing where it's like, it's not I've prepared for this. I've worked hard for this. I've done my notes. I've done my homework. I know what I need to go out there and do and execute. But it's baseball. Sometimes you execute a really good pitch and it gets hammered. So it's one of those things where it's just kind of like, you just get nervous for for what's to come. And, you know, some days it's a good day and some days it's not. And, you know, once I get out there, once I get on the mound, it's gone. It's like, you know, now I'm locked in, I'm ready to go. But, you know, leading up to it, I've got some nerves, stomachs, you know, churning and all that.
We're talking to Royals opening day starter Cole Ragans here on 96.5 The Fan. Do you approach this season any differently? Last year, your goal was to get to the postseason. You ended up pitching a lot more innings because of that. You go into this with the mindset of like almost expecting that you're going to have to pitch in October?
100%. That's definitely an expectation. That's our goal. Make it farther. You know, end goals to win it all. You know, that's what we work for in the off season. It's spring training, preparing for, and you know, throughout the season, every game matters. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say there's some little things that I've been working on. You know, like cutting walks down, stuff like that to get deeper into games and, you know, little things like that. But the overall goal is the same. You know, I'm trying to go out there and compete and win. That's my main goal, is to win. I don't care how I get there. I don't care how I do it, but to win. That's all that matters.
Was it nice to, like, you didn't know how the offseason was going to go, to end up with, like, you, Walker, Lugo back together? I know you got other guys in there, too, but, like, to get the core part of the rotation that was there last year, to have that, like, back and that, I don't know, camaraderie and all the stuff you guys are kind of used to.
Yeah, I mean, we're a pretty close-knit team. We do a lot of things outside of the field, but, you know, us starting pitchers, we talk a lot. We talk a lot in games, you know, that kind of stuff. So, obviously, Lugo was coming back, but to get Waka back was huge. He's a big part, you know, on the field, off the field. He's, you know, one of the best teammates you'll ever have. Just unbelievable. Obviously, what he did for us on the field last year was you know, unbelievable. Had an unreal year. You know, big part. We wouldn't have, you know, made it as far as we did without him. But what he does behind the scenes that people and, you know, don't really see is you know, just as important and just as big. He's just you know, he's one of our leaders.
You so like, I just like the way you guys describe it. The note taking part, like that's been the thing for you, right? I take all the notes. It's not falling into group work, right? Do they copying your notes? How does it work?
No,
how does the collaborative part of this work?
So
you know?
I mean, like, everybody's got a different way. Like, you know, Lugo can remember stuff like no one I've ever seen before. Like, he's a very visual guy, and just can remember stuff. Like, he'll remember facing a guy from like 2 years ago and remember what he did, and it's like by pitch, and so we all have, you know, our different way of going about it. But then when we brainstorm, we come to the same agreement on how to pitch a guy for the most part. But we brainstorm. Those guys have done this for a while, and so it's like me asking them questions like, what do you know, we'll be sitting in the dugout, so let's say Waka's throwing, me and Lugo are sitting there, and, you know, the other starters, and it's, hey, what are you throwing here? What would you throw here? Even though we don't have, like, he's more of a spin guy than I am, but, you know, just he's like, I'd go here because he just went here. And it's just like kind of, you know, brainstorming with each other. But like on start days, you know, we meet with Sal and Freddie and Sweeney and go over it. And, you know, Sweeney's done his homework, Sal and Freddie have done theirs, and we've done ours. And it's, you know, 3-4 minds coming together. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, oh, I saw this. What do you got on this? And it's like, oh, actually, you know, I like that. Or, I see this. This is why I wouldn't do that. Or, you know, little things like that. So.
Lastly, you mentioned the note-taking, and I don't know if this goals is something that you keep internal and don't share, but do you have some individual goals here for the season? There are things that you got 223 strikeouts last year, so you were pretty close to the top of the league already in that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously the more innings, the better. So that thing, but I mean, my biggest goal is to win. As many wins as I can possibly help this team get is my main goal. Like I said earlier, however I can do that, whatever I have to do, you know, is what I'll do. But I just want to win. That's all that matters.
So that was our conversation with Cole Ragans yesterday here at Kauffman Stadium ahead of the 2025 season. Beginning there, he joked around. He doesn't like heights either, man. I'm right there with you.
But you don't hate flying. No, you don't seem to have any issue in a plane.
We've flown on flights together and stuff. Yeah, I don't have a problem flying. It's different for me on a flight, but I'm with him on the roller coaster. I've never, like, as a kid as well. I'm definitely not a roller coaster guy.
You're probably only getting worse.
Well, and I haven't tried to go on one in years.
So you don't want to rappel off of Arrowhead with him? Come on, man. Well, look, we just went right off this side. It was like right there at the top spot.
No chance.
It was fine.
No, and
it took like 2 seconds. Drew, you can come with me. It's easy.
I've already said I'm not rappelling. I'd rather skydive than rappel down Arrowhead.
I still don't understand why that feels different.
I'm with Drew on that aspect of like the skydive at least. In you're gonna, what do they call it? You have
tandem.
Tandem, thank you.
Yeah.
You have tandem skydiving.
I want to go by myself though. You know?
I think you can't do that the first time.
You
right?
can, I think, but they got an instant pull to shoot.
Okay.
So, like, you can't free fall, that's part of the cool part about skydiving, obviously.
The tandem thing is, like, the other person, they can jump and, like, force – like, almost, you need to shove me out of the plane. Like, I think once we're doing it, I'm good. I really believe that. But the door of the plane opens, and it's usually like an old raggedy plane you're on these things because my old co-host in
little Cessna
did it.
Little
Yeah.
Four-seater.
He said he was more nervous about the plane they were on than he was like, better to jump out.
You know what? Actually, I feel safer if I'm
yeah.
plummeting to the ground.
But,
that sounds better than
so we
being
now
in a
know
plane.
Cole Ragans not a fan of heights either. But as far as him this season, like you asked him about having the rotation, pretty much the first three guys, the core of the rotation back, and we know there were numerous stories throughout the 2024 season of how close that group was, how much each player leaned on the other, and really, like he said, hey, we're all different. Lugo's going to lean more, he spends the ball more, but like, hey, you get another brain thinking about how to approach a certain situation, a certain player, and all that, and it truly betters the rotation, and now they're with each other. Waka, Lugo, and Ragans all back together again.
Yeah, the way in which they've worked collaboratively this last year, it's impressive. And it's like some of it's a joke, right? Like they're all standing over there, huddled together, but essentially they're just standing next to each other in the dugout the entire time and then just doing the guessing game, which is, hey, what would you throw to him? What would you throw here? What pitch is there? How would you attack? What location? Right? And again, it's not that they don't have different reps, but like you can figure out a way to do it. And obviously it worked last year, so there's no reason to look at it any different. They had one of the better rotations in baseball, certainly one of the best 1 through 3 last year. This year there are more questions, I will say 4 and 5, than even last year. Because last year Brady Singer's a solid 4, right? You know roughly what you're getting. Chris Bubich is coming off a serious injury, looked dominant, but we don't know. And it's like, there are some questions there. And like, are they going to use Martian right later? There's more questions than before. Lorenzen's a nice, solid 5 option. I'm not complaining or anything, but
yeah, more questions. But I do think they potentially have more options if that doesn't
something
work.
goes bad.
I don't know if they're the solution. That's also a question. But whether it's injury or performance, Bubich or Lorenzen, as you brought up, don't meet the expectation that you need out of a 4 and 5 starter. And remember, the 4 or 5 starter, you're not asking them to go do anything out of the extreme.
Keep you in the baseball game.
Yep.
Don't lose it, pretty much.
You love for Chris Bubich to turn into something bigger than that. But if one of those guys doesn't meet the expectation for those spots of the rotation, eventually could a Kyle Wright factor in? Is Daniel Lynch just a bullpen guy now, or would they ever consider moving him back in? I mean, there's even some guys, that are going to maybe factor in later on the season, guys like Noah Cameron, et cetera, if needed, right? If needed. You hope that everything just goes as planned, but pretty rare that the Royals were that rare team last year where your starting 5 in your rotation is your rotation. That's a pretty rare thing.
Yeah, it is. But also, like, that's the advantage that they've been taking place.
Multiple people saying they will do the rappelling with you, Cody, at Arrowhead. I believe
there's lots of people.
For that thing, you'll have more details. You can donate money, I believe, to do that.
Yeah, you can for sure. But, like, I don't know. Like, they sometimes let me, like, bring someone along with me or whatever since you guys are too scared, I guess. I don't know.
Well, the big boss knows not to ask me.
No, didn't even bother. I've already been pre-asked,
Yeah,
even though they're not technically taking people yet.
Last year, same thing.
You.
Last year, same thing. She knows I don't like heights. Everybody knows. So there's no chance I'm rappelling off of Arrowhead or Kauffman Stadium. Nope, can't do it. It's not that I wouldn't love to do it. I just can't. It's not a possibility, man. And Drew, it sounds like, is in the same boat. So is Cole Ragans, it sounds like, in the same boat as well. All right, what about the bigger picture? We gave you our win total and everything, but some of you have been tweeting.
You should loudly say how you think the Guardians are not winning the division right
Yeah,
now.
as they're walking by.
I mean, so overrated.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be. They just looked over there.
He
Like,
definitely
like,
looked at me when I said
excuse me.
that.
Well, Carlos.
I wasn't
Santana,
talking about you individually, sir.
Yeah, Carlos Santana definitely walked by. So a lot of you were texting in your season bets for the Royals. So you can do win total over under 82.5. Give me your season-long bets you guys like. Look, it sucks to wait 6 months to cash the ticket.
Sometimes,
and it stinks to go with the favorite typically, but I have 3 season-long bets that I have placed. Now, we're in Missouri now, so I can't even add to this. Unfortunately, what I have locked in is locked in for the season. Now, I can still bet on the MVP throughout the year, but right now...
Or we can make an underdog lineup later if we want some action on the game.
Well, so for the game, we can get to our game bet today. We do have one a little bit later on, but MVP, 3.5 to 1. Depending on the book, you could have got a better number. But FanDuel, I think it's plus 300 for Bobby Wood Jr. to win MVP. It's not a long shot bet, but that's a bet that I have locked in. I do have a fun one for the Royals, 90 or more wins. You can get alternative number on that.
Sure.
And based on the number we just gave earlier, obviously I think they're going to win 90. So 90 or more is a bet that I have. The one that is the most long shot bet of all long shots, and it requires health, it requires everything to go great, and that is going to be Bobby Wood Jr. To hit above 40 home runs. And I believe the number I got on that was 3,500. Not 3,500. 3.5 to 1. So those would be the 3 bets that are locked in that you can still bet if you're on the Kansas side right now. There's some offshore ones that people brought up. We can't bet those here legally in the United States.
No,
so
there are some I was
like Vinnie's. I was looking for the Vinnie over 18.5 home run bet.
But you got to go offshore. Same with Michael Massey. His was 13.5 offshore, a number I really, really liked. It's so that's one of them that I have, but it's I would think about getting if we were allowed to do that legally for a lot of other reasons.
Do you have a season-long bet you like?
Yeah,
that you
I do.
Placed?
Bobby Wood Jr. to lead the American, or to lead all of baseball in batting average.
All of baseball.
All
okay.
of baseball in batting
What's
average.
What's that payout?
It was 5 to 1.
Okay.
And so because he was right near the top of he led the league last year, but they're still giving you decent odds on it to go with it. The long shot bet I ended up doing that you could do legally was Vinnie to lead the league in RBI. 144 was the leader, and it was 15 to 1. 144 was the number last year for Aaron Judge. 130 was the second highest number. Vinnie Pasquantino, at the time of his injury, was pacing at 115. Now with India on base and these other guys gold, I don't think it's as crazy. I'm hoping it's still on the board. I had gotten it maybe
No, I'm showing you. So I had a free bonus bet. Look at this. It's on my phone. Look at the bet. We're on the same page. Vinnie
Pasquantino to be the season leader in RBI.
That's the bet. It was a bonus bet, so it's a small bet. It was 50 to 1 at a different book.
I think it was 30. Maybe when I placed it was 30. Maybe I was saying 15. I think it was 35 plus 15, or maybe it was 150 to 1. Now I'm trying to remember exactly what I got it. I'll have to pull it back up.
Yeah, you're good.
But it was a long shot. Think about the number, Gold. He was pacing to be about 15 behind second place. Aaron Judge's RBIs are gonna go down.
Yes.
Right? So just logically, I think Vinnie's have got to go up just as long as he plays, especially if India in front of him. I know it's a long shot.
It's 50 to 1 for a reason. He's 50 to 1 for a reason. It requires him probably playing 150 plus. The good news again, if you're just joining us for the first time today, he's in the lineup today, so he's not missing game 1 of 1. He is in the lineup as a designated hitter. A couple of you on the text line 913-586-7965. Someone says 6 or more. This is a today bet. We're talking season, but
let's hear it today.
6 plus strikeouts for Cole Ragans, payout plus 525. What do you have it coupled with? We did this earlier.
Yeah, plus 525.
That's a great value because we had the Royals parlayed minus 130 to win today with Cole Ragans over 7 strikeouts, and we were only getting plus 253 or something. So if you got it at 525, what else do you have it parlayed with?
Was somebody else hitting a dinger?
Yeah, it's a great number.
Who's hitting a homer today, by the way?
Let's do that later.
I do love later today we talk about it. It's just I love betting a first game homer bet.
Yeah, let's do that a little bit later on. Someone says Bobby, Salvi, Vinnie to each record over 80 RBI plus 241. So over 80 for
plus
Bobby,
money.
Salvi, Vinnie. I don't hate it as long again.
They would have all cashed that by August 1st last year.
They would have. You're always taking the injury risk with any of those kind of bets.
Yeah, Salvi and Vinnie probably more specifically. Salvi because his age, Vinnie because he's been a little more injured.
Barring a long injury,
that feels like a pretty good plus money bet.
Yeah, you got to wait 6 months to get plus 241.
No, but plus 241 might be what I get them just to take. I can't get that for just their win total.
Fair.
I might cash that bet sooner. And I might not have to wait 162 games in order to do it. Although those season-long bets, a lot of times they do make you wait till the end of the year to cash it. You just know that the money's good coming out of there. Where are they moving this giant arch?
It looks like what would be the entrance for some activation. But there's your bunting, Cody. You happy? They're wheeling your opening day Royals bunting.
It should be everywhere outside the stadium, filling up the space, making it feel good, making it feel like opening day. How many opening days I have been to?
Oh, how many opening days have I been to?
I have been to.
You've been to more than me.
I've been to 10 straight. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
I've been to 10 straight. You know what? I even went to opening day during COVID. It was only media. I sat here for the first game the Royals played at home during COVID with like 25 other people. It was depressing.
Yeah, I still have a photo of that. That's so
Did you went to that too?
I don't know if it was opening day. It was. I have the photo of like when everybody was, of course, having to be separate, spaced out and wearing a mask.
Wasn't even allowed to be in the same row. No, it wasn't even press box. This one, they put a diamond.
The makeshift press.
I was like, they
box.
put it like the diamond.
As far as how many opening days, I mean, shoot, since we've been back, or since I've been back in Kansas City, here, this is number 5 just since we've been back.
Yeah.
And then prior to that, as a kid, I don't know, I've probably been to like 12 total because as a kid, I would go. That was one of those, and we just talked to a kid out here that he got out of school today, so he could come to opening day. We've all been there before. If you're not on spring break, and maybe your parents take you to opening day today out of Kauffman Stadium. It should be nice weather. I know somebody texted in and said, "Hey, be careful about the storm." Hopefully, we're all right. There's a chance that a little storm could come through for like 10 minutes while we're on the air, but I think we're going to be all right. I appreciate everybody looking out. I think we're going to be just fine. Someone also reminding us that they hope to see us tomorrow. And that's right, tomorrow, Hollywood Casino as well. Vern's got his roundtable. We'll be talking to Michael Massey, Kyle Isbell. Hollywood Casino at 6 o'clock tomorrow, plus a meet and greet afterwards. Everybody from 96.5, the Fan's going to be out there. A few people have continued to ask about an age requirement. It is a casino, so it is 21 or older. So if you're someone that's not 21, keep that in mind.
Come out, have a good time, enjoy the time at Hollywood Casino. Love to meet everybody out there. Get as many listeners out there for that roundtable as well. Plus, Vern will ask, I'm sure, a lot of pointed questions,
No doubt. All right, up next, we're going to hear what John Sherman said yesterday about how they pursued a bat in the offseason. Talk more about that. Plus, Ryan Lefever, Royals broadcaster, going to join us at 11:15. And still to come today, the owner and chairman of the Royals, John Sherman, plus JJ Picollo, all in the 11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Vinnie Pasquantino, and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Baseball fans, take a swing at making entries on all your favorite players with Underdog. We're out here. Outside Gate D for opening day, and every other game can be exciting with Underdog, one of the leading sports apps that you can play in your state, as in Missouri, as in from the stadium today. If you want to make those entries, it's as simple as choosing higher or lower on those player stats, strikeouts, home runs, and hits. I personally am going to make a selection or an entry for Bobby Witt Jr. to go over 0.5 home runs today, or to go higher than 0.5 home runs today. They got all your favorite leagues, teams, stars to choose from. So, with as little as $1, you get everything right. You win up to 1,000 times your money with your baseball knowledge. Join the millions of fans who have won billions, or the millions of fans who have won billions of dollars over at Underdog. Download that Underdog app today. Sign up using promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to unlock a special offer for up to $1,000 in bonus credits when you make your first deposit. That's promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to get up to $1,000 in bonus credits instantly upon your first deposit. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners, so they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Hi, Mia here at the winnings desk of the Missouri Lottery. So, I wanted to write a thank you note for every dollar Missouri Lottery players have given to Missouri and education, but that would be 8.4 billion notes. So to save a little time and a whole lot of paper, here's just one. Dear every single lottery player in Missouri, thank you for helping us give $8.4 billion to Missouri and education. Sorry, my trumpet's in the shop. The Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome and play responsibly.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure what the best option is? Selling a home, especially when dealing with foreclosure, divorce, job relocation, or an inherited property, can feel overwhelming. That's why I don't just make offers. I help homeowners understand all their options so they can make the right choice with no pressure and no obligation. I'm Rex, a local homebuyer and resident right here in Kansas City. Whether you're looking for a fast cash sale or just want to explore your choices, I'll walk you through the pros and cons of selling to me or listing with an agent. If selling directly is your best move, I'll offer you a fair cash price and a closing timeline that fits your needs in as little as 7 days or on your schedule. No repairs, no commissions, no hidden fees. Just a transparent, hassle-free process so you know exactly what to expect. Let's talk. Call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com for a free, no-pressure consultation. Rex Buys KC, helping homeowners make informed decisions with confidence.
Hy-Vee's new fresh fried donuts are pure melt-in-your-mouth happiness with icing on top. Fresh out of the fryer every morning, you'll fall in love at first bite. Mix and match your favorite glazed donuts, donut holes, fritters, twists, cream-filled Long John, sprinkles, and gourmet delights. Pick up a dozen today. You'll be the hero of the morning meeting, queen of the book club, classroom parent of the year. Sweeten someone's day with decadent fresh fried donuts only from Hy-Vee.
I love saving money, and Hy-Vee is helping my family and me fight inflation. Not only are they lowering prices all over the store, but man, with those fuel savers, I save a ton at the pump every time I get gas. I love seeing that pump roll back to prices that I had when I was back in high school. And this week, you're going to have a chance to save. Thursday only, save 30 cents per gallon on gas with every $60 you spend on groceries. The more you spend, the more you'll save on your next fill-up, only at Hy-Vee.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, you know to check you have your phone first, before the cab pulls away.
Hey, thanks, man. No, wait, my phone! Come back! It's got my boarding pass, credit cards, phone numbers, my life! Come back!
Checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
All power, zero compromise. Ego cordless outdoor power equipment features advanced lithium battery technology that exceeds the power and performance of gas without the noise, fuss, or fumes. From blowers and trimmers to mowers and pressure washers, one battery powers over 90 tools. No wonder it is the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power. Power beyond belief. Visit egopowerplus.com to learn more or to find an Ego retailer near you. That's egopowerplus.com.
Come join us for the Royals Roundtable, plus meet and greet with Michael Massey and Kyle Isbell at Hollywood Casino Friday, March 28th, starting at 6. Your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan, KFMZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Cody and Gold back out here at Kauffman Stadium outside Gate D, getting set for opening day 2025. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, come on by, say hello before you make your way into the stadium. And we are going to be busy in the 11 o'clock hour. We're going to hear from Ryan Lefever. He's going to join us at 11:15. We're going to have the owner of the Royals, John Sherman, on the show at 11:30, and we will have the Executive Vice President and General Manager, JJ Picollo, joining us at 11:45.
Oh, busy 11 o'clock hour,
I would
you
say
said.
we have some of the best people you want to talk to when it comes to the start of this season. A lot to get into with each one of them, so that's coming up in just a bit. We're also keeping an eye on the text line as well. We love interacting with you guys, even if we're on remote here. We've got the text line pulled up, 913-586-7965. Real quick, away from baseball for 2 seconds. I just saw this come across in the last 20 minutes or so. We all know the Hallmark movie. We joked about that on the show. I was in the Chiefs Hallmark movie. I got a few tweets about this.
Okay.
The Buffalo Bills have announced, coming this holiday season with the Hallmark Channel, Holiday Touchdown, a
They
Bills
didn't even change the name?
love story. They're chasing the Chiefs in Hollywood as well. They're chasing the Chiefs in Hollywood as well.
Always the bridesmaid, you know?
Unbelievable. Look,
Can't
obviously,
even get their own original Hallmark movie. Just got to rip off the Chiefs one, huh?
I mean, it's going to be another cheesy love story, this time in
I'm not
Buffalo.
watching that one.
I'm going to apply to be an extra in Buffalo, too.
And you're going to fly out there to be an extra in Buffalo? You're an extra in every Hallmark-related NFL movie now?
Somebody has to walk down the street and park their Mazda in front
Well,
of
you're
an
not taking
old...
your Mazda out there.
I'll rent
Rent a
one.
car?
I'll rent a Mazda. I'll get paid for the Mazda, too, or whatever it is. The fact that it's the exact same movie and name is unbelievable. I thought it was a joke. Multiple people tagged me on Twitter in Buffalo. Our friends up there, Mike Shope and Gene Battaglia up in Rochester and Buffalo. We've had them on the show before. We've gone on their shows before. They're like, how do we become extras? And I'm like, what are they talking
we just
about?
applied like anyone else.
That's
you know?
it. So Buffalo's just chasing the Chiefs on the field, off the field, Hollywood, doesn't matter.
Man, as a reminder, we will have some pillows from the premiere of that in the Cody and Gold Garage sale. So if you're looking to decorate this holiday season, and in like 8 months, we'll have some great Hallmark. We've got several Hallmark things.
Yeah,
that can be in there. You can put your whole Mazda up. You know, Cody and Gold Garage sale item, Gold's Mazda, screen used, as seen.
It was parked right there in downtown Independence, or Independence Square, I guess is what they call it. Yeah, we'll see how that turns out. And I'll be curious to see, like, how identical is it? Like, just to a T. Like, it's clearly it's another love story, so there's only so much you can do there. But the Chiefs one was centered around that the stocking cap or whatever. What's the Bills one going to be centered around? Anyway, let's get back to some baseball here on opening day. We know John Sherman's going to join us in 25 minutes or so, but he also spoke to the media yesterday, and he was asked about kind of their offseason and said, you know what, they gave it a good try to go get a bat.
Particularly that quest for a bat, middle of the order bat. Yeah, certainly that was one of the things that we felt would really improve our team, and I think it's been written about. We gave it the old college try here. We went after a couple of people, and I think we expanded the view of investment when we thought about that. But when we didn't get that, I think if you think about, we got a lot of, one of the things JJ's been great about, he's brought some people in around him. Roster construction, I think, is really a strength of JJ's. How do you put together a team capable of getting to the postseason and then ultimately advancing in the postseason? If you think about our team, the back of the bullpen was really the best way that we could add. Short of a really a big bat in the middle of the order, it was really adding to the back of the bullpen. So he shifted gears, and that's when we signed Carlos Estevez.
So that was John Sherman yesterday speaking about their offseason, and it was, as he said, very, very well known that they were in on multiple bats, and people wanted them to go get a bat in the outfield. And it sure seems more and more, as we saw throughout the offseason and again there, that they agreed, like that they wanted to address that area. They came up short, and as he said, they gave it the good old college try, and ultimately they ended up saying, let's divert those resources to the bullpen. And that's where Carlos Estevez comes in, and he will be the closer heading into today and hopefully gets an opportunity. We saw him on the cart driving by us, 25, 30 minutes ago. He is a massive human being that's going to be coming out of the bullpen for this team. And it'll be interesting to see how they utilize him. Like yesterday we gave our bold takes for the season, and I said I think he's going to have a career high in saves. The challenge with that will be how do they use the bullpen. I think Urseg will be more of the guy that they used to put out fires, but it's probably not going to be just Carlos Estevez as the clear-cut closer, but he's getting the first crack at it today.
I obviously, and you and I both know, and we could ask JJ again if we want at 11:45. I think you and I know for a fact the Royals outfield plan, like the one John Sherman's talking about, was the home run swing for Santander or a player like Santander. I think specifically him, but like a player like Santander. And then when that number came out, you're like, ooh, yeah, I kind of get why maybe you weren't in that ballpark. And I'm not even saying it would have been worth the risk, because you can win with Salvi, Vinnie, Bobby, Jonathan India, another big trade you made in the offseason offensively, and then just have a dominant bullpen. Have a big-time bullpen. Have one of the best bullpens in the American League, or maybe one of the top 10 in baseball. They have Estevez, who can close. Ursek, who closed well for them last year. I will say, Angel Zerpa had an incredible spring training. I don't know if he's getting ready to just take some huge leap, or if it was just a good spring Gold. I'll be curious. That's another guy I might ask JJ Picollo about. He had an incredible spring. Some of the guys who have been okay relievers for them, not like bad, not good, but okay, those guys are pushed to 4, 5, 6 spots. Daniel Lynch, let's not talk about him as a starter. We're not like rewriting his history. But as a guy out of the pen who can crank it up to 93, 94 if he's out of the pen, that might work too. Like, I think on paper they're already a top 5 bullpen in the American League. So, like, missing out on the bat, does it stink? Yes. Is the outfield easily the weakest unit on the roster on paper? Yeah, honestly, it's not very close. It's the weakest unit. Do I panic because of that? No, because I think they just decided we're going to go back to being a dominant bullpen again. And I honestly think that risk was worth it, considering the outfield bats that were there. Unless you were going to pay Bregman or you were going to pay Santander, Gold, who else were you going to pay that was going to make a sizable difference, I guess, is the question.
And that's ultimately what they decided. Profar was a name that some people were interested in as well.
Been fine, but is that a huge upgrade?
Probably not.
It's an upgrade.
Probably
I'm not, but huge upgrade.
By the way, some news. I just saw this come across for today's game. Little scratch from starting pitching matchup today. Tanner Bybee.
What?
Food poisoning.
Oh no!
I don't know where. I don't know where he ate in town. I don't know where he ate in town.
Which guy in Kansas City poisoned Bybee?
The Guardian starting pitcher today, Tanner
Bybee,
as food poisoning, will not start. So Ben Lively is now going to start on short notice.
But, man, do you think it was this is going to go down as
food
like
poisoning?
The alarm pulling thing, Someone's going to accuse Kansas City of poisoning the guy.
Who knows, man? You had some bad chicken, some bad whatever. I don't know. Bad.
You've gotten food poisoning before. It happens.
I have. I always use chicken as the example because that seems to be the one where it can be the.
Well, if it's undercooked.
And that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's the example I always use. So how did that impact today's market? The Royals were minus 130 to win. They're now minus 158 to win. Now that Lively is scheduled to start. So a little switch. Luckily,
I was worried you were going to tell Vinnie got scratched or something. I didn't know which way you were going to go.
Vinny's the DH. There's no change with that lineup, but Bybee not pitching today. I'm assuming he'll be good to go later on in the series by Saturday or something. But it depends, man. Food poisoning, a little 24-hour thing. That sucks for him.
I guess he'll probably start Saturday now, just assuming.
Maybe he had some Cipino, Cody. For those that have listened to the show for a while, maybe he had some bad Cipino.
Poisoning.
Some bad Cipino will
do
that for you.
Will you come to my house if I make Cipino?
No, because I can't eat that. That is like
I'm
going to have an allergic.
You can have scallops. You just can't have shellfish, right?
Yeah.
So, can you have mussels? Are you sure you can't have shellfish, or you just think you can't have shrimp?
I
want you to get a skin test.
I used to eat shrimp all the time. I loved shrimp. One of my favorite foods. It still bugs me to this day that I cannot eat it.
I think you should get a scratch test. Let's be sure.
And I cannot have shellfish, I'm pretty sure. It's shrimp for sure, and I think it's shellfish. And
you're just avoiding foods you might be able to eat.
As far down deep in the ocean as I went before with shrimp anyway, and now you're asking me to go further deep.
I'm just asking to eat a mussel.
I think I know what this is about. I think Cody wants to. You want to redeem yourself with the Cipino.
Drew, why don't you and your wife go have just like
Drew,
our old producer did?
Do you guys like seafood?
I do. I don't know if my wife is allergic to Cipino because she's allergic to crawfish, and there's something else that we found out a couple years ago she's allergic to.
You got to find out which ones, and then we'll find out. I'll be careful.
Some bad Cipino.
I'll plan it around you.
Some bad Cipino, a little food poisoning, it'll get you. I know you think it wasn't that. I'm not sure. We got to find out. I don't know what the Guardians had for dinner last night or anything like that. Something was up for Bybee, though.
There's always a risk. Either way, that's a little bit interesting. We can talk about that in just a minute. With our next
I'll
guest,
tell you,
Ryan
there
Lefever.
is a less than 1% chance I will ever have Cipino, especially from you.
Less than 1%?
Especially from you.
Especially from me. What the hell is that supposed to
Drew's even skeptical. I think you should invite his wife and get a complete
Drew, I think you
redo.
guys should come over, but I need your wife's approval first. I homemade bread, dude. I bought saffron. I went out of my way. This was a fine quality meal. It took me all day. I went to a fresh seafood market down on the east side of Kansas City. I felt at home.
You sure that
They had their
wasn't?
own
You sure
spice
that was?
Everyone was. The problem was, as I blamed the Cipino, but my kids were sick before, and they never ate the Cipino.
Yeah.
My kids ended up sick too. What's their explanation? They don't. Just as a hint, my kids were like 2 and 4 at that time. They didn't eat Cipino.
That's the scoop of the day I want. Somebody on the Cleveland Guardians beat. I want to know what type of food. I don't have to say the restaurant. I want to know what type of food Bybee had that food poison. I just want to know what do you hopefully it wasn't barbecue or anything like that. I'm hoping you got adventurous with some seafood and it was some bad seafood.
We're going to see the quote out eventually, I'm sure, at least from that side. So we'll find out. We'll find out whether or not. But yeah, the Guardians starting pitcher, late scratch today due to food poisoning. So it'll be Cole Ragans versus Ben Lively for the Guardians instead today, and we'll figure out, exactly how much impact that has in the game. We'll find out here in about 4 or 5 hours, and 5 hours at least on this end. But the odds market did shift a little bit, as you pointed
Royals
out.
were minus 130 or now minus 158
Not
or so,
surprising.
depending on the sports book. We are about to be joined by Ryan Lefever. I'll have to ask. I think this might be year 27. I think this could be year 27, and maybe I'm off by a year. Of course, you can catch him on FanDuel Sports Network today and throughout the season at times right here on 96.5 The Fan. Am I right or am I off by a year? Is this year 27?
It's year 27.
Okay.
And I've probably said this too many times, but I turned 54 this year. So if I'm still around at the end of the season, I will have spent half of my life as a Royals broadcaster.
Did you have any moment at the very beginning where you're like, man, did I make the right choice here? Go to the right. Was there 6 months in? Because, fans never like the new guy.
Yeah.
It always goes awkward at the beginning. They're like, no, it's not the way I liked it sounded before or whatever else. We deal with that in radio all the time.
Well, I was sitting in Fred White's chair, who'd been here for 25 years and was here during the glory years in the 70s and the 80s. And I was just some 28-year-old from the Minnesota Twins, and I had no ties to the area at all. So I knew it was going to be difficult, and fortunately, there was no such thing as social media back then. So
that helps.
The people who hated me had fewer ways to tell me that they hated me. But I got letters. There were letters to the editor.
Letters?
Oh yeah. And whenever you get a letter and there's no return address to it, this is not going to be good. But I tried to respond as best as I could. But yeah, there were times, when I
you're
thought,
early or your late 20s. That's a tough time to just be taking a lot of criticism.
Yeah, at least when I started with the Twins, at least I'd been to the University of Minnesota and I played baseball there. I wasn't a Minnesotan, but they kind of saw me sort of as one of their own, but not here. And but you know what? To be honest, when I look back on it now, guys, people were fair. They gave me a fair chance. Denny was great to me. I owe Denny everything. The credibility that he gave me in the early years. I wouldn't be here talking to you right now if Denny and I didn't hit it off the way that we did right away.
I was looking back, it's so funny. It's like the Kansas City thing is just mention barbecue or jazz music. If you're in Minnesota, just mention peanuts, like Prince, and you're pretty much good, right? You just got to figure out the things that endear you to the city.
Yeah, the lakes, mosquitoes. You start talking about mosquitoes in Minnesota, they're like, he's
been around here a little
while.
He's
one of us. Yeah, exactly.
What do you think about the starting pitcher being out for the Guardians today? Bit of a shift here early.
Yeah, that's always a fascinating thing because the initial response is, okay, we don't have to face Tanner Bybee. But there's something about a player who was not expected to play. And now this is opening day, so it's different. But no player or pitcher would admit this, but I think there's this almost immediate sense of, you know what? Nobody's expecting anything of me today, so I'm just going to go out there and do my best. I didn't get a whole lot of time to prepare. And more times than not, that guy does pretty good because of that. Just going out there, I'm just going to do the best that I can today.
Nobody's going to blame me if it doesn't go well.
Exactly, exactly. And we had Ben Lively here for a short period of time.
Yeah, we did.
And he had a really good year for them last year. Anytime a team has a unexpected good year, as Cleveland did last year, I mean, I don't think anyone figured they were going to win the division the way that they did. That usually means you have players who had unexpected good years. And Ben Lively was one of those guys for the Guardians.
The Royals seem to have real expectations, though, this year. I know last year in this very time we were sitting here, we were talking about how different the opening day roster was compared to the year prior. This go-around, there's a couple new pieces, but the majority of this team is back in the same spot. This year, we talked to fans. I know you talked to fans. It feels like it's not just about making the playoffs. People are looking at that division crown.
Yeah, and for this generation of fans, we know two things: the World Series and winning the World Series. I mean, because in 14 and 15, it had been 29 years since the Royals had been to the postseason, and we went to back-to-back World Series. So it was a little strange to be bumped out in the division series because, it had been so long. I mean, well, let's see, how far do you have to go back? You have to go back before 1985 when the Royals were eliminated.
That's a pretty standard way people go to the postseason sometimes.
Right. So I think while it ended shorter than we wanted to, it was still a extremely successful season, and it gave them a taste. There's a lot of guys on this team that have won before somewhere else, but this group has never won together. So they got a taste of it. They know what it takes to get there, and they're hungry because the season finished quicker than they wanted to. And it's if there's one thing that is frustrating about the way the postseason ended, the Yankees beat the Royals 3 games by 4 runs.
I know.
It's not like the Yankees came in and just bludgeoned the Royals and, hey, we're just lucky to be here. I mean, those were all winnable games. The Yankees played much better than in the ALCS against Cleveland than they did against the Royals. And I remember after the Royals won Game 2 in New York, there were a lot of nervous people in New York that they were going to come here and we were going to win this series. They were not playing with a whole lot of confidence, but they pitched well. Giancarlo Stanton got hot, and so anyway, all that being said, that these guys, it shouldn't be a false sense of motivation. They should really feel like they can compete with the best teams in the playoffs.
Can the offense get better? So there's always the players that are like, okay, do MJ's swing fixes help? Can Massey stay healthy? There's always the players that there's a little more unknown about. Mm-hmm. Can the offense get better simply just because there'll be guys in front of the guys who are good at producing runs?
The offense,
India's on base, and now all the guys who are already good at being RBI guys, Vinnie, Bobby, and Salvi, can just put more runs in.
The offense has to be better. Now, if you look at the stats, the Royals were 6th in the league in runs per game. That's pretty good. When Vinnie went down, they were 3rd in the American League in runs per game. And you think, wow, what a great lineup. No.
It was all coming from those
Bobby,
3.
Vinnie, and Salvi carried that offense. And just about everybody else in that lineup, outside of Massey when he was healthy, just about everyone in that lineup had a down year. So to go in, and I'm going to say Vinnie drove in 100 runs. I mean, he drove in 97 runs in 5 months. I mean, he would have driven in 100 runs. So let's say Vinnie drove in 100 runs. I don't think you can go into the season this year expecting all 3 of those guys to drive in 100 runs again. Other guys are going to have to pick up the slack. Other guys, spots 5 through 9, are going to have to get on base more often, move runners more often, drive runs more often. Now, if all 3 of those guys drive in 100 runs again, and the other 6 are good, then they're going to be in really good shape. But those 3 guys, you can't expect them to just carry the offense again like they did last year.
We're talking to Ryan Lefever here on 96.5 The Fan. Cody asked you a little bit there in his question about MJ. I heard you with CDOT earlier on in the week as well. The biggest swing player for individually for that player and also for the season, I think you said MJ Melendez, if I'm not mistaken, was your answer. I agree with you. We also brought up maybe even Chris Bubich. Who do you think on the pitching side and on the hitting side could be the big swing for maybe in their careers too?
How about I give you a few? I don't know if I've narrowed it down to one, but I agree with Chris Bubich. I agree with MJ Melendez. And then I will also add in Kyle Isbell and Michael Garcia. Their ability to get on base more in the number 9 spot is going to help Jonathan India in the number 1 spot when the lineup turns around, which then helps Bobby, which helps Vinnie, which helps Salvi, so on and so forth. And I think for Isbell and Garcia and Melendez, and I don't want to sound like I'm oversimplifying this, but I think it's as much of a mindset as it is changing their swings. What Vinnie did last year showed that you don't have to have an enormous amount of home runs. You don't have to have a huge OPS. You don't have to win a batting title. you can just find ways to drive in runs.
Sack fly king last year.
Sack flies, ground balls, broken bats, and that's Vinnie's willingness to drive in a run. And it seems like we're getting out of an era where players thought, I'm going to go up there and find a pitch that I can crush. And that works in the minor leagues. And you can hit 30 or 40 home runs in the minor leagues and drive in a bunch of runs against single A and double A and sometimes triple A pitchers. But when you're facing Tarek Skubal, then there's a runner at third base with one out in a tie game. I don't know if you want to go up there thinking I'm going to find a pitch that I'm going to hit into the 10th row.
Not off Skubal.
You got to find a way when you're facing major league pitching. How do I drive in runs? Vinnie has that figured out at a very young age. And so I don't know if I'm sure MJ's mechanics are going to help him. It looked good in spring training. I think Michael Garcia going back to the opposite field again, and I saw that in spring training. Kyle Isbell's ability to think about getting on base and not necessarily driving the ball. And no fault of his, but when you're a number 9 hitter, they're going to pitch to you. A number 9 hitter can't be a patient hitter. You're going to be 0-1, 0-2 all day long. I think his willingness to accept that role and try and get on base, that's mindset stuff. That's not swing, hand, stride, front hip, front shoulder. And Vinnie has a mindset as a run producer that's well beyond his years. That's not an accident that he drove in 97 runs in 5 months.
Who do you think, by the way, out of the Central? Is it today? Who's the team you think stands in the way the most for the Royals this year? Is the toughest challenger for the Royals this year? We both think the Royals did more than any other team in the division to improve their team this offseason. So is it the winner last year, the Guardians, Twins? Who do you like?
Well, I think you just can't count out Cleveland. They just have a knack of. I mean, they've done a lot of winning.
They lost Bieber last year, and I'm like, no way.
Yeah,
that team's done. And then they won the division.
They just continue to win. I mean, they know how to win. I think last year was the third straight year that they were the youngest team in the major leagues, and they've gone to the playoffs 2 of the last 3 years. They just and. Are they better at finding players and developing players? I don't know. But when you have a winning culture and you go to the ballpark and you expect to win, that's a big part of the equation. There's no statistic for that, but that's a real thing. And then I think you have to look at Detroit. Detroit's saying all the things that the Royals are saying right now. You know, they came back from the dead. They had a winning season. They ended up in the postseason. They got a taste of it. I think the Tigers.
They got pitching.
The Tigers feel about their season the way we feel about our season.
I just between Job and Skubal, it's like I fear their pitching. There are problems on their roster, but I fear their pitching for sure.
Ryan Lefever, you're going to be on FanDuel Sports Network, new network, same network, new name and everything.
Blue logo.
Blue logo.
They get you some new polos?
Yes.
Okay, can we get some old ones for our Cody and Gold garage sale?
Take the old Valley ones.
The old Valley ones?
Yeah, game used.
Yeah.
Game used if you wore it,
Yeah, so it doesn't really change much for us in the booth, but I think it's going to be good for the viewers because there are more ways to watch the Royals on television than in the history of this franchise. I mean, we're back on over-the-air television again for select amount of games. We're still on all the cable providers. We're still on all the satellite providers, with the exception of one, I believe. And if streaming's your thing, and more streaming is your thing, there are easy ways to get it, affordable ways to get it. I think I saw that it's if you get the season pass either at MLB.com, FanDuel Sports Network, the direct-to-consumer app, or if you get it through Amazon Prime, you're paying 65 cents a game to get 154 Royals games. So we're still in a transition period where people are getting used to streaming in just different ways. I'm old enough now. I remember when the shift went to cable and everyone went, oh, you can't do that. People don't have cable television. Well, that didn't last for very long. But there are more ways to watch the Royals now than ever before.
Well, have a great call. It's good to have you on the Royals games once again.
I'm outranked by your next guest, I think. So
yeah, we're going to get a quick break.
We're
going to get a
9
quick break.
layers.
We're going to get a quick break, and when we come back, we will be joined by Royals Chairman and CEO John Sherman right here on 96.5 The Fan.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
FanDuel is giving all customers the chance to take a swing at $500,000 in bonus bets every day from March 27th to the 30th, this Thursday through Sunday. It's all part of the $500,000 daily home run jackpot. All you have to do is use your jackpot profit boost on a player to homer. And if they go yard, not only will you get bigger winnings on your home run bet, but you'll also get a share of that day's $500,000 jackpot. This season on FanDuel, big wins are on deck. So just head to FanDuel.com/Alex and look for the daily home run jackpot. Make every moment more with FanDuel, your home for betting home runs, an official partner of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Must apply profit boost token on select market. Prize pool to be split equally among all eligible participants who made the correct pick. Bonus issues non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Alex Gold once again telling you about Max Motors, the easiest place to buy a car, and maxmotors.com, or one of the 7 locations around the area. I was at the car wash the other day, and I'm starting to notice more and more vehicles that have that Max Motors logo right there on the back of the vehicle. More and more people finding out why Max Motors is the best place to find your brand new vehicle, right? It's all about finding that vehicle that you're going to love, and it's a great time to go to maxmotors.com and check out what they have right now, which is a new 2024 Ram 2500 Crew Cab 4x4 starting at $40,000, stock number BF7089. Or how about a new 2024 Jeep Compass 4x4 starting at $23,000, stock number 90144. Must finance with dealer lender. Offer expires 4/1/25. Max Motors is not going to just rush you through the buying process without explaining you the total cost of ownership. It's why they're the best in the Midwest, the best financing options available with the max trade-in values in the Midwest. Max Motors, the easiest place to buy a car. maxmotors.com.
It's time for basketball, and Uber Eats is dropping deals on game day favorites to keep you locked in on the action. Like when you're craving a buzzer beater, but also buffalo wings. Or when an upset makes you want to ugly cry into a pizza. And right now, Uber Eats has game day deals from McDonald's, Popeyes, Pizza Hut, Wendy's, and hundreds more local favorites. So you can keep your eyes on the ball and your hands on a hamburger. Order now, only on Uber Eats. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Empower. Jen has ordered a decadent seafood tower, king crab legs, lobster tails, and a waterfall of caviar. Pricey? You bet. But Jen worked with Empower on her savings and investment strategy and planned for splurges like these. She got good at money, so she can be a little bad. Ooh, champagne. Empower. Invest well, live a little. Start today at empower.com.
Past performance is not indicative of future returns. Investing involves risk. You may lose money. Advisory services are provided for a fee by Empower Advisory Group, LLC, EAG, a registered investment advisor with the Securities and Exchange Commission. OMG, those shrimps are really jumbo.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMSS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Hear that? It's SpringFest savings calling your name, only at Lowe's. Right now, get a free Select Ego 56-volt battery when you buy a Select Ego trimmer, blower, or mower. Plus, get your choice of any 2 bags of Miracle-Gro organic soil mix for only $16. Shop these can't-miss deals in-store or online today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 4/2. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Excludes Hawaii.
I'm Brian Tedesco, CEO of Blaupunk Americas, the pioneers of the car stereo. Today, we're not just about sound systems. We are revolutionizing the e-bike scene with Blue Dot Bike. Thanks to AmericanEagle.com, our online presence now features a dynamic e-commerce website that showcases the quality and affordability of our foldable e-bikes, and our collegiate e-bikes just perfect for the college fanatic. These e-bikes offer a new way to experience freedom on two wheels, no matter your age. When we needed a top-notch website to match our cutting-edge e-bikes, we turned to AmericanEagle.com. They made the impossible seem easy, tackling digital challenges like pros. Check out the Blue Dot Bike website to see AmericanEagle.com's amazing work in action. Need the best in website and digital marketing solutions? AmericanEagle.com is your go-to. They've been a game changer for us, and they can be for you too. Visit AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW-1. That's 877-WEB-NOW-1.
Brought to you by Urban Air.
Urban Air is where fun takes flight. With our awesome attractions, it's always an adventure. Visit urbanair.com today to find your local park and book your tickets, membership, or birthday. Urban Air, let them fly. Attractions vary by park.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Back here on 96.5 The Fan, it's Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, getting set for Royals opening day right outside Gate D. Counting down, getting closer and closer. We appreciate Ryan Lefever for joining us. We're going to be joined by Royals General Manager and Executive Vice President JJ Picollo coming up in about 10 or 15 minutes or so. But we are honored to have the Royals Chairman and CEO John Sherman join us right outside Gate D and getting set for another opening day for you. We were talking a little bit off there. Just this is one of the nicer opening days we've had in Kansas City.
It is, absolutely. And like we said, it could go either way. So looks like it's going to be a great day out here. Hopefully on the field as well.
That's what we're looking for, right? You had mentioned when you had bought the team, we always reference a quote, which is like, I kind of want to know what playoff baseball is like, right? And, well, like, we took that to heart. Like, I've been in Kansas, we're both Kansas Cityans.
Right.
So we spent a lot of years just being like, I would take just a playoff berth. Not that 14 and 15 were magical, but we would do that. When do you start getting greedier? You're like, okay, I remember playoff baseball. I'm greedier on the other end of this now.
Well, we're there, but I think we're humble about it. But more importantly than how I feel, I would say the players, the guys in the clubhouse. I would say last year, we got better. We thought we could compete. That we were hopeful we'd get a spot, and we eked in by one game. Right? I would say the feeling this year, and surprise is, it's just a professional group, and they expect to be there this year.
Last year, what were your expectations going into the year? Because this year, you're right. Like, was it just like, I hope that we're ready to be as competitive as I thought?
But it was, you just don't know, right? You just don't know, because we lost 106 games, no matter how you slice it, right? And we knew JJ had improved the rotation. We brought in some veterans. We had some maturation among our young guys. Bobby keeps moving. That's helpful. So I thought we could compete, and we got off to a pretty good start. But it wasn't an easy finish, right? We stumbled in September. When Vinnie got hurt, we stumbled again, I think. But I will give JJ credit for. I don't think anybody was chasing a spot harder than him and us. When he went out and he gets Tommy Pham and Robbie Grossman, Yuli Gurriel. Of course, Urseg at the deadline was a big deal. Hunter Harvey he's going to help us this year, but it didn't work. All those guys helped us get into the dance, right? And we got in by one game, so we chased it pretty hard.
You had mentioned, I think, in your press availability yesterday, you're like, the thing you like the best about JJ is his ability to build a team. Is that what you liked about him when you hired him? Or is that something you, continue to find out now? When you decided to promote him, was it about the team-building part, or are you finding out more and more that that's the thing you like the best about him?
Well, I would say I thought he was prepared for this role, his background, and then his openness to change, right? He's a curious person. He's trying to get better every day. But I don't know that I would have said he was as good as what I'd call roster construction as what we're seeing. But he's also brought some people outside that he knew were skilled in those areas, and that's really what JJ's done, right? He recognizes that he has a good background, but he needs to, when he brought in Q, he brought in Paul Hoover, he brought in Brian Sweeney from Cleveland, Zach Bove. All these guys are bringing different perspectives that make the team better, and that's what's impressive about JJ, and he's still doing it today. We're finding new ways to get better.
We're talking to the chairman and CEO of the Royals, John Sherman, here on 96.5 The Fan. Yesterday you also spoke about how close, how aggressive you were to maybe try to go get a bat.
Yeah.
And I think you phrased it, the good college try that you guys gave, I think is the word that you used, the phrase you used yesterday. How close did you feel you guys were to going and getting that bat? I know you pivoted to the bullpen, and that's why Carlos Estevez is here.
Yeah, I think we're close. I think in the one that got written about, and there were others, but I think I think JJ went after it hard for a team like ours. I don't think he wanted to go as many years on that one particular bat. But I think we gave that a good try, and then when it was clear that, we're still, we picked up Mark Conha recently here. That's a different kind of ad, but it does add value to the team. But shifting, and we talked about roster construction. We have a roster simulator now that I don't think we had 5 years ago. I know we didn't have it 5 years ago, where you can input what will make you better, right, in terms of wins, runs saved, runs produced, and a back end of the bullpen guy. And there were two other people along with Carlos that we looked at there, but that was really the best way to make this team better, back end of the bullpen. And now we got power back there with Harvey and Ursay again and Carlos. And Zerpa. Zerpa's a guy that I think,
he had a great spring.
And a great spring, and I thought he proved his mettle against Baltimore too, right? Never been in a playoff game. That was not an easy place. And in fact, I think those two games in Baltimore, we added that to our DNA, particularly the pitchers. You had all four pitchers in game one: Cole, Sam Long, Zerpa, and Ursay, and maybe Bubic. I can't remember if Bubic got it. None of those guys had ever pitched in a playoff game, right? And they all met the moment. And that's, I think that's a big deal for feeling that we're going to be better this year.
When you mentioned like the bullpen stuff, was the on-base stuff a big conversation you guys had? You target India. Canna, he gets on base too, right?
On base too.
Like, so when you start looking at those, was on base a big part of the conversation? Because you guys have some guys who can pop a little.
No doubt that was, up front, right? We needed a lead off. Bobby Witt, you probably know this, came to the plate 433 times with nobody on base. I think that was the most in the majors. Still drove in 109 runs, right? What's he going to do if we got more guys on base in front of him, right?
Same with Salvi and Vinnie, who drove 100 each themselves.
Same thing. Well, Jonathan can set the table, and if you've been watching him in the spring, really good at bats. I think he was fourth in the league last year in walks. He's one of the lowest chase rates in baseball. 357 lifetime on base, and then Kana's 360ish too, right? So those are some skills that we haven't had. And then Bobby's on base is going to get better as he gets even better.
And when they stop pitching to him,
he's aggressive.
I don't know why I'd pitch to him right now if I were a lot of other teams. He's just so good.
Yeah, but he keeps finding a way to, sometimes you have to pitch to him, right? And having a guy like India in front of him and Vinnie behind him, that helps him too.
As we're talking to you, we got John Sherman with us. Obviously, the questions everybody has out there still is about the future of Royals baseball in this town.
Right.
And you spoke a little bit about this yesterday.
Right.
For Royals fans that are listening, what would you tell them for those wondering, hey, when is there going to be some sort of announcement? When will you guys have on a potential site in the future of the Royals in Kansas City?
Yeah, I think, the future of the Royals in Kansas City is what I'm working on every day. That's what all this is about, right? It's about winning baseball. It's about securing the future in Kansas City and to be a good citizen in this community. But first of all, I would just say I would tell the fans this is a generational decision, something we're taking very seriously. I want to be strategic about it, and it's our objective to be ready to talk about that the middle of the calendar year, so in that June-July period.
The hope being that you guys would have like a full decision by then, I guess, like a site location.
That's the hope, that we would have a full decision by then.
Is it hard to go back and forth and look at the options now? Because you've mentioned Kansas and Missouri on both sides. Is it hard now to try to figure out how I reshape my dream or continue that? Because you've mentioned how much you love downtown baseball, and now obviously you consider both. Is it hard to reshape what maybe your initial thought was and trying to decide between two options? It could still include downtown.
I think you have to be open-minded, right? And I think this is about the region. This is about certainly downtown will work, but I think more importantly it needs to be in an area of high density where we can build a world-class facility that ensures our competitiveness, but also we can do some things around it that create energy and vibrancy and economic activity, not just 81 nights a year, but 365 days a year.
When you look at the rest of this team, do you do the same stuff we do? You're a big baseball fan. You say you just love watching the game. So is it like you get a hot dog, you predict how many wins the team's going to have yourself?
I don't do that.
You get the internal projection, You don't have to do that like us.
Right.
Like which level of, what are the fandom things you stick to,
Well, I think I'm going with Q's mantra. We show up every day to win. And this year, they think, we're not going to go 162-0, but the mindset this year is that we show up every day to win. And today, I think it's great to play a division foe. You always get their best pitcher when we're putting our ace out there as well. It's always a tough game, but it's one of 162, right? And it's a long campaign. But I think we got a shot to win this division, and it'd be great to start today.
And throughout this season, too, you guys are not only going to honor a 40th anniversary of the 85 team. You got the 10-year anniversary.
That'll
I know
be
a
fun.
couple representatives throwing out the first pitch today. So
No, that'll be fun. And, you asked what I do every day. Look, this is I don't know if you guys do this, but I come here to the home games. I come here and watch. I listen to Vern on the way home. And that's all. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes it's not good. But it's all. The important thing is fandom, right? Passion, right? Whether it's good or bad, silence is what you should worry about. And then I'll go home sometimes and I'll turn on the replay on Bally's or now FanDuel. And my wife will come downstairs and said, you need to go to the hospital, John. This is the same game that we just attended. I said, well, I want to see it from a different perspective.
It is different. It's different than watching it like we've been fortunate enough on this show to go to a couple of different like Chiefs Super Bowls, and it's like watching it in person is a different experience than watching it on television.
I like both. I love the excitement of being with fans and the energy of the stadium, but I also like to watch a game. You get a different perspective.
John Sherman, Royals Chairman and CEO, we appreciate the time. Thanks for stopping
you.
by. Enjoy opening day.
Appreciate it. You guys too. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. And coming up in just a couple of minutes, we're expected to have the general manager and executive vice president of the Kansas City Royals, JJ Picollo. I see him walking by right now. We're going to have him. We'll talk some more baseball with him, but great to catch up with the chairman and CEO of the Kansas City Royals about not only this baseball team, but obviously just a couple thoughts there on where things are at. He says by the middle of the year when it comes to a site selection, you followed up and said, have everything's figured out at that point in time? That's the hope.
Yeah,
you're
telling us we're going here, we got financing, all that stuff.
And look, it'll be, we're a week or so away from it being a year since that failed stadium vote. And you and I, we talked before the show. Today's more about opening day, so we didn't want to focus too much on the stadium stuff today because I think everybody's just excited for this baseball team. We can talk some more stadium stuff tomorrow on the show as well. But I definitely, he had some comments yesterday. We definitely wanted to ask him again today about where things are at. And we know downtown baseball was always a thought, but yeah, he said you have to be a little more open-minded now. And I think if he acknowledged, like he did yesterday, that, they're looking at sites on both sides of the state line.
I think what he's announcing is, well, what are you saying there? He's like, we know downtown baseball works. There's no question there. If that's where we end up, we're good. Yeah. That's fine. Everything's squared away there. The question is, can it work somewhere else? They just want to be somewhere population dense. So, what they're telling you is, I think they're saying they don't want to go out to the Legends, right? They want to be in a more neighborhoody area if it's going to be on the Kansas side, Gold. Maybe a more established area if it's going to be on the Kansas side. And I can't blame them for that. That makes a lot of sense. But, I do think they have to kind of reshape their dream. Their dream was build an entire ballpark village with their stadium downtown, and it looks like this.
I mean, I still think that can happen, though, man.
It could, but they can't just be like that's the only plan.
No, but I still think that's in play. It'll be interesting too because he mentioned, just how he handles opening day and stuff. We know, of course, like most years, the mayor will also be here at the stadium today and things like that. But I June and July now. I mean, that's kind of the new. We'll see if that actually happens. I hope it does. I'm sure they do as well. June and July now. If you're wondering how much longer to find out the site, to find out what the stadium plan could be, and obviously the financing and everything. The new deadline, it sure sounds like now, is June and July, which we've known in the last couple of days, or certainly yesterday with some of the comments as well.
Yeah, it's totally fine. It's understandable that would be the case, but it has been moving slow, I guess, at least on that end. And I think that what he's saying is it's a massive, this is one of the biggest things the city will do, right? Right? Build an airport, build a stadium,
massive projects.
And it changes the dynamics of a city. So all of that, I'm not saying rush into this decision. I certainly don't want that. But also, at some point we're all kind of hoping to find out.
No question about that as we continue broadcasting live outside Gate D at Kauffman Stadium, getting set for opening day here 2025. We'll get back into some more specifics a little bit later on in the show as well on that, but we're excited to have the Executive Vice President, General Manager of the Kansas City Royals, JJ Picollo, joining us. Another opening day. This one, don't have to deal with weather being an issue or anything like that. It's great to see you. Great to see you for another opening day.
Opening days are all good, no matter what. Whether it's you'd rather have 80 degrees and a little bit of sun than not, but opening days are always fun.
You got the spring training tan.
I do. I actually got tan really fast this year. I don't know what
your
that's
body's
about,
adjusting
but,
to it.
I guess, but I held it, so that's good. It'll disappear here in a month.
John Sherman was very complimentary of your roster construction, specifically yesterday. He talked about it on our show here just a few minutes ago. How do you feel about how you guys approach this offseason? Last year, you changed 80% of the roster from the year before. This year, it was just a handful of things that you did to the roster. How do you feel about, now that you're maybe getting close to first pitch, how do you feel about the way you guys kind of went about it this offseason?
Really good. Every offseason brings something different. Going from 23 to 24, our results told us we need to make some change. This year was different. This year was more specific. The main thing was the leadoff hitter, and we were able to get Jonathan India. Then it was try to make sure, and actually Michael Walker helped us out because he signed early, but make sure our starting pitching still has depth. We tried to add another bat to the lineup, didn't quite get it done. But then we also were able to address the bullpen, which, as we've witnessed here, and I think we were sort of a trendsetter, if you have a lockdown bullpen in the last, the 7th through the 9th, you got a pretty good chance to win. So that was the approach we took, and, we got guys in this team that I think will take steps forward, and we're in a pretty good spot.
How close do those conversations go with the bat? I won't make you name names. I'm not even sure if you're allowed to technically via that. We know some of the names that were out there that maybe you guys were interested in. Those conversations get pretty deep, or did you have to kind of alter quick? How how did those go?
They were deep. They were deep. At one point, I thought we were going to land somebody that would have been really good for our lineup. It didn't work out, but we were involved, and that's a credit to John and the way he runs this club. He sees a window of opportunity right now where we can compete in the Central, and ultimately that's what we're trying to do is win the Central every year. But he sees a window of opportunity with the guys that we have, the stability we have, that this is a time to move forward. So he gave us the okay to get involved with some of the free agent talks and, some of the trade talks as well that would have helped us. But, that's in the past now. We can't do anything about that. But, take the guys that we have and let's make this the best team we can.
In the organization, you can sense it from fans as well. We've talked about all morning long, real expectation, not just to have some hope and make the playoffs. You guys obviously did that last year, but the bar, you guys have raised the bar, right? And for this fan base too, and thinking about winning this division, how has that changed maybe even your feel walking into the building today?
Yeah, the team is more stable right now than it was last year. Last year, I would categorize it as optimism. There was optimism, a lot of new faces. Bobby going into his third year. The Salvi. The Salvi always brings excitement. This year, there's a confidence that not only do we believe we've done it or can do it, but we've done it. We've gotten to the playoffs. Though I'll tell you, though, we came up short. Once we reached a certain point in the season, it wasn't about – it was about making the playoffs. But once you get into the playoffs, it was about going deep into the playoffs and winning a World Series. So nobody was satisfied with the year last year, which I think is a credit to Q with the way he runs the club. You mentioned, you used the word expectations. There are expectations, but we have to sort of temper that with, we don't have to go from, we don't have to win 30 more games this year.
Right.
7 would be nice.
Yeah, exactly. That next mark for us might be 90, 92 wins. But for those things to happen, things got to go right this year. You got to stay healthy. Last year we were extremely healthy. And, we have to expect that we're going to have bumps in the road this year, and who's going to get a chance to step up and do something a lot like our bullpen did last August and September. They were outstanding. And guys got opportunities. So when you have guys in the minor leagues that get an opportunity, that's a great thing. But, putting the ball in play with runners in scoring position, we're really good at that. We have to maintain that. Throwing strikes with our pitching staff. I think our bullpen's a lot different. It's deeper. It's more power. The 4 guys from Zerpa to Harvey to Irsay to Estevez. Those 4 guys are very different than the 4 we had last year. So there are things that are moving us in the right direction. But the reality is we got to play 162 games, and we got to weather the storms that are going to come. It's not going to be all, sunshine and rainbows for us. It's a long year, and it's a tough year.
You mentioned, injuries and avoiding those. Looks like you guys avoided maybe a scare right out of the gate. Vinny's in the lineup today. Yeah. He's going to DH, but just where is your feeling on him right now?
Good. Watching him work out yesterday, I thought he was going to walk in the office at the end and say, I want to play first base. we had a pretty good idea. If you just look at Vinnie's track record, I mean, he beat all odds last year with the broken hand and getting back for the playoffs. He was the only one to believe that. You know, he told us, I'll be ready for the playoffs, and he was.
You're like, sure, Vinnie.
Yeah, I in my mind was, you know, if we can get deep into the playoffs, maybe get into the, you know, the league championship series, then we'd have an opportunity to get him back in the lineup. But, you know, knowing his history, knowing how tough he is, knowing that he was going to do the right thing over these really 4 days he had, because he had Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to get ready for today, I expected him to be in the lineup. But watching him move around yesterday, I thought he's going to want to play first base, which we have to sort of – that's where we got to step in and say, hey, this isn't smart for you. This is about, you know, this is about the long haul. We like to say it's about the war, not the battle. Today is a battle. The season's a war. You know, we got to get through the entire season, and having been on the field is really important.
I thought, you know, it stinks for, like, the injury stuff because, like, initially you're fearful because last year Vinnie was healthy.
Yeah.
He was healthy the whole year. He was playing every day. He was consistently there. And then a freak injury, you know, like, that always feels like it must be, like, mentally kind of tough where you're like, you didn't do anything wrong. It's not that you didn't get your body prepared. It wasn't things like that. You know, like, to have that kind of – because, like, the shoulder was the thing before.
Yeah.
But once he had that surgically fixed, he hasn't had a problem with that anymore, right? We haven't seen
that's
any more
well
issues.
behind him. You know, and that was something, a discussion I had with Vinnie, because Vinnie's pretty hard on himself. You know, as fun-loving as he can be and outgoing, he's pretty hard on himself. And he was mad that he got hurt. And it's like, hey, Vinnie, that is a freak injury. That's not something we worry about. Now, this soft tissue injury with our medical staff, we'll figure out a way to get him through. It's actually similar to Gurriel. When we got Gurriel last year, he didn't have his hamstring was not 100%. But by the time we got to the end of September, our medical staff did a great job in getting him through early September, late September, and then he was healthy in the playoffs. That was sort of how we categorized this one, and we just got to be smart about how we use him.
What about how the spring training went from the let's tinker in the outfield perspective? You guys were finding out if Massey could play left, finding out if India could play left, finding out if Mike Kell could play center. We know today it'll be Massey at second, India at third. I'm assuming that's going to be most of the time for you. Will we see any of those guys in the outfield, Maikel Garcia, India, or Massey?
Yeah, you will. You know, and the thing that we don't think about a lot that I would, you know, encourage our fans to think about is, you know, because we pinch hit. You know, so now when you pinch hit, you know, positionally you got to line up. So you might see more of one guy playing two positions than we've seen in the past. So you might see Michael start at second, go to left. You might see India start at third and go to left. You still may see one of them start a game and left. You may see Michael come into a game. Today he's not starting, which was a tough one for us because we believe in Michael. But it speaks to the depth of our lineup to not have him in there. But it's very likely he's coming in at some point today. He's going to play. So you're going to see him, whether it's at third base, second base, center field. He's going to move around. The thing we have going for us is all three of those guys have said over and over again whatever we need to do for the team. And that's really, really good to hear. And I think that speaks to the maturity of the team. It's not about me. It's not about establishing myself. It's about the team. And that's a big difference right now than what we were dealing with 2 years ago.
We're talking to JJ Picollo here on 96.5 The Fan. I think a few weeks back we had you on the show. We talked about MJ Melendez and how he was very receptive to changing the stance and changing the swing. And a lot of fans are looking at him as maybe a huge swing guy for you guys. If he gets to a level that people have hoped, and I'm sure you guys have hoped he gets to, how big of a season is this for him, for your entire team's success?
Well, I think right now we have a solid offense. You know, we're still going to have to create runs and move runners and do all those things. If MJ's doing what we believe he's capable, if Michael does what he's capable of doing, if Izzy's able to do things that we believe he can do, you know, you put those guys into the mix. And Hunter Renfroe, I mean, he's hit 25 home runs, I think, 5 times in his career. We don't need him to hit 25, but if he can hit 20 for us, that may be the difference between us having a solid offense and a really good offense. And really what we're thinking about is trying to take pressure off of Bobby, Vinnie, and Sal to do everything. You know, that's not a healthy way to go. That's not sustainable in our opinion. Adding Jonathan certainly helps that, and I think Michael Massey really evolved into a professional hitter last year. So you'll see him at the 5-hole probably pretty frequently here to start the season. But if those other guys do what they're certainly capable of doing, we may have a really good offense.
I think Renfroe's been around the league long enough. I don't think there's questions about that. But like MJ, I think Ryan Lefever actually pointed out is a really good point where with him or some of the other guys in the lineup, can they learn things from Vinny? Not like you're the same hitter, but like just get a run home. Just figure out how to score and produce runs is what we're talking about. Vinny's great at producing a run for you.
Yeah.
Can guys like MJ, who I think his home runs came a lot of solo shots, or his hits didn't. He had 44 RBI, even though he had maybe 500 at bats. Like for him, is that the growth you would take even more than anything else? Just being more of a producer.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I mean, there's a lot of ways to be a productive major league hitter. With guys in scoring position, we can't miss those opportunities. So, but what is not measurable, and it's more instinctive, it's more in our behavioral science department, asking them questions. When you start doing little things like that, your confidence grows because your teammates believe in you. And when your confidence grows, it may free you up to really take off. It's been out there. I think it's a good comparison. What Mike Moustakas went through in 2013 and 14, very similar things. And all of a sudden, Moose put the team ahead of himself, and he took off. The team took off, but he took off, and he hit eighth for those teams.
He started bunting down the third baseline.
Exactly.
I remember it was like a whole thing. Yeah,
and they were things that we couldn't get him to do in the minor leagues because it was all about driving the ball somewhere. And all of a sudden he started doing the little things, and then he did drive a ball, and hit some big. I think he hit 5 home runs in the playoffs in 14.
Yeah,
that was the year he was sent down. So there are moments, things that can happen in a game that give a guy confidence to become the hitter that they are certainly able to become. And MJ's one of those guys. Again, Mike Hell's one of those guys.
What about this division? I think we always ask you here on opening day. You guys have your internal projections, obviously. It sure looks like this is going to – 3 teams made it last year to the postseason. Looks like another really close division. Yeah. You guys don't seem like there's much separation.
No, we don't. It's going to be a dogfight. There's good teams in our division. Obviously the 4 and the White Sox are going to be better. They are going to be better. But the other 4, they have different strengths, but we're going to be competing with all 4 of those teams. I think Minnesota's the team that went through some injuries last year. If they stay healthy, they've got a really good team on paper. Cleveland's always been tough, and Detroit, the run they went through, I loved watching them play last year. Not necessarily against us, but they took it to us. They came in here and swept us.
They did that to the league for the last couple of months.
They did, and that momentum's going to carry too. And they're a good ball club, so it's not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination. But we feel like we're built well. We're built for the long haul, and we have some reinforcements in AAA. We like our depth, so we're in a good spot. But now we just got to take it day by day.
You're wearing the World Series ring, so I'll ask about the confidence level and the difference, kind of back to the beginning of the conversation, the optimism. How big of a difference does it make for some of the guys, do you think, attitude-wise, or what do you see different in now that they know they can win department? We saw a huge shift from 14 to 15 in the clubhouse. I think even just from covering it from a media end. Are you seeing that in this team?
Without question. Our spring training was flawless. There was not a bump in the road. And I want to knock on wood here. I hope this is wood, but I want to knock on wood.
It might be plastic.
We'll go with wood. Yeah, we'll go with wood. Yeah.
But there was no drama. There's just a professionalism about our clubhouse that is really enjoyable to sit back and just watch. It's a testament to our player development department. It's a testament to our scouts. We got the right guys in the clubhouse. And we just need to keep encouraging them, stay out of the way, let them play the game. But there is a confidence that they have. They're hungry. They're hungry to go out and get back and do better than we did last year.
Small question, I guess, outside of this, but when you see the deals for, the contract numbers that Vlad Guerrero's asking or what Soto got, are you guys really extra thankful you got Bobby Witt Jr. done?
Well, regardless of that, we're thankful.
Yeah. You know what? No matter the money, you're happy Bobby Witt Jr. is here, sure.
Yeah, no doubt. And we're really grateful that Bobby loves Kansas City. His family's in Texas. It's easy for them to get here. He's a superstar. And we know we have him through the 2030 season and hopefully years beyond that. So it is a really comfortable feeling, and Bobby's going to make money. He's going to continue to make money. But the beautiful thing about Bobby, that's not what he's about. He's about playing baseball, and that's what's so enjoyable about watching him play.
JJ Picollo, Royal General Manager, Executive Vice President. We'll let you get back inside here. We appreciate you coming out and joining us as always on the show.
Yeah, enjoyed it. Let's have a good season.
Absolutely. All
Thanks,
right,
guys.
coming up next, we'll get to what's trending. We'll talk a little bit more about what JJ had to say there, and we'll also be joined by Brian Kinney coming up at 12:30.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Men, is good enough really what you want with your sex life? This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if erectile dysfunction is making a bad bedroom experience for you and your partner, you should call us because you want your intimacy to be fantastic, both for you and the one you love. At Heartland Men's Health, our treatments have success rates of well over 90%. And because we're a medical practice focused on men's sexual health, we can offer many treatment options and even combine treatments to find the right one for you. Which means if you're like most of our patients, we can likely get you performing like you haven't in years. So make an appointment and make a change from good enough to really good. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices to serve you. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
It's time for basketball, and Uber Eats is dropping deals on game day favorites to keep you locked in on the action. Like when you're craving a buzzer beater, but also buffalo wings. Or when an upset makes you want to ugly cry into a pizza. And right now, Uber Eats has game day deals from McDonald's, Popeyes, Pizza Hut, Wendy's, and hundreds more local favorites. So you can keep your eyes on the ball and your hands on a hamburger. Order now, only on Uber Eats. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Empower. Jen has ordered a decadent seafood tower, king crab legs, lobster tails, and a waterfall of caviar. Pricey? You bet. But Jen worked with Empower on her savings and investment strategy and planned for splurges like these. She got good at money, so she can be a little bad. Ooh, champagne. Empower. Invest well, live a little. Start today at empower.com.
Past performance is not indicative of future returns. Investing involves risk. You may lose money. Advisory services are provided for a fee by Empower Advisory Group, LLC, EAG, a registered investment advisor with the Securities and Exchange Commission. OMG, those shrimps are really jumbo.
What would you do if you could go back in time with the tap of a button?
Watch the ancient Egyptians build the pyramids?
How'd they do it?
Buy enough Bitcoin to purchase your very own private island.
Or maybe just skip the joke that flopped at the holiday party.
Unfortunately, we haven't figured out how to rewind time. But you can rewind live shows with the free Odyssey app.
Never miss your favorite sports talk again. To get started, download Odyssey and search for your station.
This Thursday, one day only, earn a 30-cent Hy-Vee fuel saver for every $60. That's a 30-cent fuel saver for every $60 you spend in-store and online. Thursday only, and only at Hy-Vee.
March 2012. That's when we started Connolly Plumbing Solutions. It has been a wild ride. If you have had us take care of plumbing issues for you, we thank you. If you haven't, next time you need a plumber, we would love the opportunity to win you over. Locally owned and family operated, serving the entire Kansas City metro area. Connolly Plumbing Solutions, your neighborhood plumber. Call 913-768-7676 or visit ConnollyPlumbingSolutions.com to schedule.
It's time for basketball. And right now, Uber Eats has deals on McDonald's, Popeyes, Pizza Hut, Wendy's, and hundreds more local favorites. So you can keep your eyes on the ball and your hands on a hamburger. Get game day deals now, only on Uber Eats. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things. People. Love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy, just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit. Once again, that's Indeed.com/credit.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMSS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
It's time for basketball, and right now, Uber Eats has deals on McDonald's, Popeyes, Pizza Hut, Wendy's, and hundreds more local favorites. So you can keep your eyes on the ball and your hands on a hamburger. Get game day deals now, only on Uber Eats. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things. People. Love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit. Once again, that's Indeed.com/credit.
This afternoon, expect a temperature of 82 with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms.
Weather brought to you by Staples. Your local Staples store has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. Save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch all the shows from your phone, desktop, or tablet. Your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
At Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. Number one, of course, is opening day 2025. We're broadcasting live outside Gate D here at Kauffman Stadium, getting closer and closer to first pitch. Good news for those that were wondering, which was most Royals fans, if not all, would Vinnie Pasquantino be in the lineup today? The answer is yes. He will DH. We just talked to JJ Picollo. It sounds like
that's probably going to be for a couple of days.
Could be the case
week.
for a little bit. They're going to be cautious. Thought he looked great and everything, but they are going to be very cautious with that. There is 162 games to be played. But the great news, Vinnie will be in the lineup today for the Kansas City Royals as Cole Ragans takes the bump. Reminder, Vern's on Deck show coming up at 2 o'clock right after us.
Probably the biggest surprise is that Kevin Biggio is getting to start at first, but not that surprising once you realize they'll probably rotate a few people in for there, like Freddie Fermin might catch on Saturday or Sunday. We'll see how that plays out the rest of the time. Who's not in the lineup is next on What's Trending, Tanner Bybee, the starter for today's Cleveland Guardians, or scheduled starter, I would say, for today's Cleveland Guardians. He's been ruled out due to food poisoning. I don't know who you in Kansas City poisoned the man, but Tanner Bybee will not start. Ben Lively, former Royal of all things, will make the start for the Guardians today. Had a really nice year for Cleveland last year. He'll make the quick start for Cleveland instead of Tanner Bybee, who got scratched today for food poisoning.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, were they eating? Did he eat by himself last night? Did he order a different dish?
Did he get a riskier one? He go get some sushi?
Yeah, did the team not, they don't always eat together. Baseball, they can go out to different restaurants, whatever. Who knows? Bad luck or whatever. Obviously sucks for him, but he will maybe pitch later on in this series. Remember, tomorrow's an off day, and then Saturday and Sunday, the Guardians will continue their series against the Royals. So
he's going to hope it's not a Mookie Betts thing. Like, the weird thing with him is, like, he's still, like, he just keeps losing weight, and he says he feels
now, that was internet. He was in a different he was in a different country, and who knows what the heck was going on there, obviously. But, Blake Lively.
Or Ben Lively.
Not
Blake Lively.
Blake Lively.
If she pitched today, I like the Royals' chance.
Ben Lively.
Minus $10 million.
Yeah, Blake Lively would be something.
Got to step out on the rubber.
Blake Lively coming out today would be something. Ben Lively.
Maybe if Taylor came to watch a Royals game,
Yeah.
Blake could come along.
Although I don't think they're friends anymore. Isn't that right?
There was a falling out for an Oscars thing, I don't know if a full falling out.
Yeah, I thought that was
kind of.
Thought that was the case. Next on What's Trending, the Toronto Blue Jays have reportedly made another push to make Vlad Guerrero Jr. a longtime member of the Toronto Blue Jays. Remember, he said he's not going to negotiate a contract during the season, so they made an offer reportedly right before opening day. Doesn't sound like that's going to lead to a deal, but that was of a note. Remember, Vlad Guerrero Jr. contract year. He saw what Juan Soto just got from the Mets. He's thinking big payday. I think Vladdy Jr., you talk about contract year being undefeated kind of stuff. He's going to have a massive season for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he is already a very, very, very good player anyway. One of the best players in baseball. But, yeah, in addition to that, He has all the money in the world possibly coming his way. So yeah, I can't say that. I can't say that would surprise me if he just goes ahead and waits for free agency. If I was that close and I was that big of a baseball player, nah, too late. Should have signed me 3 years ago. I'm seeing free agency now. Sorry, Toronto.
Well, they just paid Anthony Santander a lot of money, and that's a player that we know the Royals were in on. That is what's trending, by the way, here on Cody and Gold.
Would have been bad. I almost asked JJ. I thought about it, and then I pulled back. I was more professional. Said, hey, I know you guys were interested in outfielders. If the name ended in Santander, just nod your head in agreement. If that's the guy you were close on, just go. I'm like 99% sure that the guy that they were close on was Anthony Santander. But if you look at the years, as Sherman, I think, pointed out, it was the years. It's not just the per-year cost. It's Santander.
Toronto added an additional year.
They put on an additional year. They wanted some more security in case they don't get Vlad Guerrero Jr. back next year. And the Royals decided to go a different way of team building. Their bullpen would have been riskier. Urseg would have been the closer, and everyone else would have moved up instead of Estevez, and that's what they got instead of Santander. Will I follow Santander this year if he's hitting 45 home runs? Yeah, I will, because I'm curious if that could have been in their lineup. But, yeah, I mean, I understand how they ended up in the decision they did.
Coming up at 12:30, Brian Kinney of MLB Network is going to join us. We'll talk to him about the Royals, obviously, but bigger picture with baseball as well, some of the things going on around the league, and, of course, this division. Plus, our Royals insider, Josh Vernier, will join us at 1 o'clock. If you missed our conversations with JJ Picollo or John Sherman, of course, those will be on the podcast page and up on
Cole
the Odyssey apps. Cole Ragans, yeah, we might play some of that again in the 1 o'clock hour. But, yeah, Cole Ragans, today's opening day starter, joined us yesterday. We came down here for workout day, and we caught up with today's opening day starter. But I do want to talk about players that we said are swing players, but also, okay, who are you worried about regressing? Because we can say there's a chance for a big positive swing for numerous guys on this roster. We can all name those players, starting with MJ as a big swing player. What about on the opposite end? I'll be honest, I include injury in this too. You know, like that can be part of a regression angle. Starting pitching, you know, is there regression there? For me, the question was last year as well, and he proved me very wrong, and that is at one point does Father Time catch up to Salvador Perez? There is no sign of it happening. Nothing from spring training. Last year he was coming off one of his best seasons, Silver Slugger Award. We know he wants to keep playing baseball. He's going to be behind the dish today. He was so vital for this team last year, was once again an all-star. Like all that happened. That is always going to be a concern probably every year the rest of his career. Like if he goes out and has another all-star year this year, I'll probably say the same thing next year on opening day. That would be the player I would be most concerned about because he was one of the three guys that basically had 100 RBI last year. And if he has any bit of regression, if Father Time at all catches up, well, then who else is stepping up in the offense? Because that's a big bat they've counted on.
Yeah, I mean, I do understand that. I'm not saying that he's not in the category because Father Time is, and I disagree, Father Time is not undefeated. Tom Brady beat it, and as far as I can tell, LeBron James is beating it. He might have to beat Stephen A's ass in the interim. We can get to that later. Please.
By the way, that is so embarrassing for everybody involved.
Oh, for every single person involved, but still hilarious. Father Time hasn't beaten everybody down. Like, for instance, Yadier Molina maintained being a very good baseball player all the way until the end. And so I do think that there's a good possibility that Salvador Perez will maintain being a really good baseball player. Worse than last year? Yeah, probably. But, like, they can have an ebb and a flow of a baseball player. That's not a huge deal.
Well, I'm not saying he has to have the exact same year. No. I'm just worried about one of the years it will happen. Years like this year, if it doesn't happen, then just gives him some more outs on offensive issues. If he were to slide back considerably, and I don't think he's going to, but he's on the list of potential guys.
Yeah, he is.
Then who elevates their game?
My answer is Waka. That's who I'm scared of.
Okay.
Because the strength in this team, the true strength in the way that they win, is the fact that they are one of the best rotations in baseball. And so the way Waka pitched last year was the most professional, solid, day in, day out, three guy you could even possibly dream of. Shows up every day, pitches every 5 days, gets you like a 3.5, 4 earned run average in every game, never blows it, doesn't walk a bunch of guys, leaves you in no trouble. And it's like, Ragans, I just feel like he's the goods. I'm not worried about regression with him. If he's healthy, he's great.
Yep.
Lugo, I get it. That's the common regression when people bring up in the bullpen or in the rotation. But I think Major League Baseball has shifted multiple. There are 5 or 10 right now starters in Major League Baseball who are doing a good job as starters in Major League Baseball that were relievers like 6 months ago, 2 years ago. So, I just feel like baseball's gone back to that, and it's working and turning guys back around. Walker's older than not old.
No, I got you.
He's older.
Yeah.
He's had up and down years, and I think that they need that kind of depth because Boob's just got a pitch limit. Lorenzen's an okay 5, no problem. But the other guys are all complete unknowns. Not that they don't have depth, but that if Walker's not a solid 3, Singer could have been a solid 3 last year if Walker wasn't, and was essentially. I don't feel like they got that safety net anymore. I feel like that's the guy that scares me regression-wise.
Yeah, right. I mean, at some point you're going to have some other pieces, whether it's in the minors or whether they're starting the season on the IL, that might have to factor into the pitching element. I guess for me it's not about falling. I'm not worried about those guys falling off. I think there's a chance Lugo just doesn't have as good of a season. But, truly the fall-off, I think there's only 1 or 2 guys that I would be all that worried about truly having a major fallback from where they were.
I just don't see it with Bobby and Vinnie at all. I wouldn't even put them on my list as potentials.
No, but as we were discussing with the entire offense, relying on just 3 guys to carry everybody, that's probably not sustainable another season. So that's where we get back into the India conversation. Get on base. Can he be a big part of that? Can you have, JJ Picollo specifically mentioned Hunter Renfroe. They don't need 25 home runs from him, but can he get back to closer to his baseball card, the back of his baseball card? Can he get to 21?
Him and Massey, essentially, I want to be the same hitter. Yeah. Be a 315, 320 on base guy, hit me 20 home runs, be enough of a force that they're not going to just completely work around Salvador Perez and throw him junk to get to you, because the lineup can go 6 deep if those guys are what you said, back of the baseball card. 20 home run guys, 260 average guys, or 250 average guys, 310 on base, 315 on base, consistent guys, kind of what they've been when they're healthy in their major league career. Then 7, 8, 9, I'll worry about that. I'll worry about that later. I'll worry about it later when I get to the Melendezes of the world and the Kyle Isbells, or in today's case, Kevin Biggio or Michael Garcia or anyone else. Fine. Whatever. I'll deal with that later. Last year, they really were an offense run by 3 guys, and they were a mediocre offense. They were a league average offense last year. As Lefever pointed out, they were 6th in runs per game. And I think overall they were more league average. They were a league average offense last year with pretty much 3 guys being contributors and nobody else helping until Tommy Pham showed up for a month and hit. Like any offense that has Yuli Gurriel and his 40-year-old hamstring rolling in,
and that was very late in the year.
Sure. But they didn't have somebody else to step up when Vinnie went down. They had to sign the 40-year-old. I mean, that does speak to where they were. So, yeah, I would say that the starting pitching's the fear. That's the one where I just need it to be good. I need it to, you know what it is? Just stay healthy. Just stay healthy, starting rotation. That's all I'm asking for.
Unfortunately, the chances of that happening are fairly low, of going back-to-back seasons, of having starting pitching health the way they did. But that's why we've discussed the bullpen in particular. Can the bullpen cover for some of that? Do you feel like you have more trust in that? I think heading into the season, I don't know how you don't feel good about it. Will they end up being a top 5 bullpen or a top 3 bullpen in the American League? We'll find out. I don't think it's crazy to think that they can't be that, though, and that's what's exciting about it this year, to where you're not maybe having as much pressure on the rotation that have to go out and give you those real quality start after start after start. Yeah, you need it from certain guys, but if you tell me that your number 5 starter, Michael Lorenzen, is only on average going to give them 5 innings and an outing and give up, let's call it 4 runs, so a 4-year, if that's what it's going to be, well, the bullpen this year has the depth and the arms to get it done. Based off of what
they can rely on them
we
more
saw
to
at the end of last year with Urseg. You know what you're getting. Hunter Harvey, I'm still convinced, while he's a wild card, I'm still convinced that so much of his lack of success last year, he barely pitched with the Royals because he was hurt and he was overused. Now, I know he didn't have a great spring. People will say, hey, well, let's find out when it actually happens. But he was, at the time, a piece that everybody was excited about when they traded for and thought he was going to kind of be the difference maker. It ended up being Lucas Urseg after the fact, but I believe Harvey was the first trade they made.
And I really like the potential for Zerpa. Look, maybe I'll get punished.
They love him.
Maybe I'll get punished on this. Every single person in the organization is gushing about it. I mean, look, I'll be honest. When you watch him pitch, I get it. Mm-hmm. The way he pitched in the postseason, the way he's pitching now, it does look like the kind of guy who all of a sudden might take a leap in domination in Angel Zerpa. And he's got no pressure on him, too. Before, all right, Zerpa, we need you today. Oh, no big deal. We got to Urseg first. We got to Estevez first. We got to Hunter Harvey first. Now we need you, Angel. We need you in the 5th, 6th inning. They did a good job in the postseason. The bullpen arms that they're relying on now, those guys did a really good job in the postseason of fireman role. Hey, there's 2 on and 2 out, and there's 3 men on. And Zerpa, I don't know what to tell you, but we need an out here.
He was the guy for Soto. He was the guy for Soto.
We're up 3-2, and we need an out right now. Can you get us an out? And Zerpa did. I mean, he came through in those spots.
They do.
Something I wasn't necessarily anticipating going into the year. And so all of that's why, like you and I earlier, and we'll take your predictions on the text line, 913-586-7965. We'll take them on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. We live stream the show all 4 hours every day. That's why we ended up doing our predictions. Sorry, it seemed like you had something.
Nothing pressing or whatever. I was just thinking we're going to have Brian Kinney join us here in about 9 minutes or so. We did our season-long discussion about bets. Do you have a bet in play today? Opening day, we looked at this because of the pitching change. The Royals are even more favorites, bigger favorites, I should say, than they were.
So we got better odds on it earlier.
It keeps going up. They're up to minus 166. It was minus 130 early. Then the pitching change. For those that are joining us, Spivey's not pitching. Lively's pitching now due to food poisoning. And now the Royals are minus 166. If you're on our social media, I believe a video was out earlier we recorded. I have the Royals to win, parlayed with Cole Ragans' alternative strikeouts. All that means is instead of the normal strikeout numbers like 5.5 or 6.5, we take it up to that 7.5. So need 7 or more, actually, not 7.5. The two together plus 238. That's my bet today. And then maybe a little sprinkle on a home run bet. The only bet that has actually placed those Royals win.
I
Cole
do think
Ragans
we
over
choose.
7.
I'll figure out. Like we're on the Missouri side, so I can make an underdog entry. But
Drew's in Kansas
multiple.
still.
So maybe have Drew. I could Venmo him the money. I think we did terrible. Betting show money on the NCAA tournament. Let's just be honest. It went horrible, fellas.
It was bad.
Let's just choose
do a home run?
Let's do one guy today, Drew. If I Venmo you the money.
Hit the first home run or hit a home run?
Let's do one guy today to hit a home run.
Okay, here we go.
And
on
FanDuel,
FanDuel, Renfroe 6-1, Bobby's 4.5 to 1, Salvy's 5 to 1.
What about MJ on the swing fixes? You guys want to get wild?
Oh, no, see, here's my word.
MJ on the swing fix?
So here's why I don't like it. I actually think his swing fix, we just went over the stat. To me, if you want him to be better this year, it's that he's not trying to hit home runs, that he's just trying to drive in runs.
All right.
I don't know if we like that one. I mean, there's
Massey? Massey, I'm getting better odds on Massey than I am. I told you I think he's a 25 home run guy.
Vinny's DHing today.
Vinny's DHing. What are his odds?
Plus 630.
Oh, what do you guys think? Massey, Vinny? I want to go down the list.
I like Hunter Renfroe at 6-1.
6-1, Hunter Renfroe?
Yeah.
What if we placed 2 smaller bets?
All right,
you get Renfroe, I get Massey.
Okay.
Like half a unit each.
Okay.
We'll come out ahead no matter what if either guy hits it. And if they both hit home runs, then we'll feel good. Drew, I'm going to Venmo you some money. Can you place some bets for us?
You want me to place 2 bets, one of them on Renfroe homer and
bets.
one of them on Vinny's homer.
I'm going to send you money.
Don't parlay them.
Don't parlay them.
That'd be
Two
crazy.
individuals.
Just split the money I sent you in half.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then put one on Michael Massey to hit a home run and put one on Hunter Renfroe.
Do you really want to put one on Melendez? Look, it's funny. I just worry that his swing change. Actually, it's a good thing if you tell me he just has a double today versus like from a long term thing.
I told you yesterday we had said, hey, let's do our bold prediction for the Royals, and I told you my bold prediction is that Michael Massey was going to hit 25 home runs for this team this year.
Mm-hmm.
If he's going to do that, he should be the guy that I back today to hit a home run. So Drew, I sent you a little money.
Okay.
I need you to split that in half, and just put half of it on Massey to hit a home run, and half of it on Hunter Renfroe to hit a home run. Maybe we'll hit both. Maybe we'll change all of our luck on the NCAA tournament where it went so horrible. We can talk more with Vern about our season.
Yeah, I mean, if you think Cole Ragans is throwing a no-hitter, guys, you can bet on that today too.
I got to say, out of the
$10 to win $3,000. Yeah,
man.
He's not going to
win $3,000.
Game 1, he's not throwing a no-hitter because even if he was pitching that well. Don't you think they wouldn't let him go?
If he had no hitter, they'll let him keep pitching.
Not if he's at 100 pitches in the 7th inning.
It doesn't win if it's a combined no hitter, right?
No. Nope.
Anyway,
Ragans, some fun ones.
No.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Oh, it'd be amazing.
Got him. That'd be pretty fun.
Up next, we're going to be joined by Brian Kinney of MLB Network. We'll talk to him about this 2025 Royal season and bigger picture. What does he make of this AL Central? That's coming up next here on Cody and Gold.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Cole Ragans, and you're listening to Cody and Gold. Weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Spring is here, which means you could have some roofing problems. Let's be honest. The weather is going to tell you where your roof is. Century Roofing was at my house today fixing some little things I had on the house. I wasn't sure if we needed a whole new roof. No. They said, hey, you just need a few repairs here and there. You'll be right as rain. They took care of it today. That way I can make sure I got the confidence. Why I chose Century Roofing? That might be a question you asked. Well, they've been in Kansas City for 35 years, have done over 30,000 roofs in the area, and have been voted back to back to back best roofing company in all of Johnson County. When it comes to major projects in your home, you want trust. I'll be honest, that's what you want. You want trust. Contractors, roofing people, you want to make sure they're doing a quality job, they're going to do a quality job the entire time, and they're going to stand behind their warranty. That's what 35 years in Kansas City will do with a company like Century Roofing. They do free estimate and repair and replacement estimates, so you can find out if you need those things done, and you can find out how bad the damage is. If you got some hail over the last couple of weeks, if it's coming soon, and you just want to remember a roofing company you can trust. Trust Century Roofing. Trust the pillars of strength. Go with Casey Basin, female owned, Century Roofing. Go to centuryroofingkc.com and tell them that Cody sent you.
Hello, Kansas. Looks like we're in for another heat wave this season with a forecasted high of up to $300,000. That's right. The Kansas Lottery is bringing the heat with the Hot Sevens family of tickets rolling across our state. You could instantly win up to $300,000. Plus, there's even a chance at up to $20,000 in the second chance drawing through Play On. Talk about a scorcher. Don't forget your oven mitts when you head out today. See kslottery.com for details.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Empower. Nick bought a new guitar, a 62 American Classic Electric. Does he know how to play? No. But Nick's Empower investment account has performed well. He got good at money, so he can be a little bad. Empower. Invest well, live a little. Start today at empower.com.
Past performance is not indicative of future returns. Investing involves risks. You may lose money. Advisory services are provided for a fee by Empower Advisory Group, LLC, EAG, a registered investment advisor with the Securities and Exchange Commission. This is a really, really, really good guitar solo.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
Sometimes it feels like the world is moving at hyperspeed and you can't keep up because it's one thing then another, and don't forget the meeting and the yoga class and the dinner reservation, but then you get into the all-new Nissan Murano, and you feel the breeze from the panoramic moonroof, while the massaging seats melt away the tension of the day. And you realize that sometimes the greatest rush is not rushing at all. Shop the all-new Murano at NissanUSA.com. Panoramic moonroof massaging leather appointed seats are available features.
T-Mobile home internet is all about speed, value.
What you doing, Zach?
I'm rehearsing. There are so many benefits. You got to talk fast.
T-Mobile home internet ranks #1 in customer satisfaction for home wireless internet by J.D. Power.
Wow, you are good.
Try singing it. T-Mobile has price lock.
They won't raise your rate on internet.
Hulu and Paramount Plus on them.
On them.
Get T-Mobile home internet all in for just $55 a month with auto pay and any postpaid voice line.
Additional terms apply. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Get 5 quarts of O'Reilly Full Synthetic Motor Oil and a MicroGuard oil filter for $29.99. In-store only. Limit supply.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
So, your small business is outgrowing your garage. You could go online, find a space, and get catfished. Or you could work with an agent who's a realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. Right by you.
Are you a small business owner who needs immediate cash flow? At Swish Funding, we have flexible funding options from $25,000 to $2 million. For the best rates and terms for your business, just one application to Swish Funding gives you access to our entire network of funders, with cash in your account in as little as 24 hours. To qualify, you must be in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of $50,000. Apply at swishradio.com and use code CASH. Swishradio.com, code CASH.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-275-1242. That's 800-275-1242. That's 800-275-1242.
Brought to you by Urban Air.
Urban Air is where fun takes flight. With our awesome attractions, it's always an adventure. Visit urbanair.com today to find your local park and book your tickets, membership, or birthday. Urban Air, let them fly. Attractions vary by park.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
All right, we're back here on Cody and Gold, continuing to broadcast live from Gate D at Kauffman Stadium as we inch closer and closer to first pitch, opening day 2025, and we're excited to head out to the hotline and welcome in Brian Kinney of MLB Network. MLB Now has returned to MLB Network, hosted by Brian, and it airs every weekday at 11 a.m. Central. Brian, it's great to have you on the show. When we think about kickoffs to sports, opening day, there's nothing close to this.
It is exciting, and I think like this year more than ever, yes, it's so wide open. There's so much parity, this vast middle class, and so many teams have a real shot at making the playoffs.
I will say we have a long-standing joke on this show about bunting in opening day. Are you a fan of the decorations around the stadium?
I like I like that level of bunting. Yes, a big fan of that kind of bunting. Yes,
I'm less of a fan of it from the actual baseball perspective. I only like it as a decoration. I'm pro hit the ball over the fence. You know.
Exactly. And look, I hated mindless bunting. I like bunting for a reason. I like punishing the defense, making them play honest, all that. I'm a big fan of dead ball baseball. I just didn't like the mindless sacrifice and thinking that it was a good strategy.
Last year we saw this city come back alive for baseball and experience playoff baseball again for the first time since the World Series run in 2015. We think the Royals had maybe the best offseason of any AL Central team. What's your view on this Royals team trying to follow up what they were able to accomplish a year ago?
Yeah, I think, small moves mean a lot. Also, Royals get better as they get a year older. There's only a few teams that are like that. Tigers are also like that, though, so it's a very young team. I think it's wide open, but I think the pitching rotation that the Royals have developed has really become superior. You have about the best player in baseball as well. You still have a good offensive force at catcher. A lot of things still have to break well, but the Royals played a very good brand of baseball last year.
Do you think they're the best team in the AL Central, or do you view that as the Guardians who won it last year? You mentioned the Tigers, maybe?
It's so close. I think probably the scratch pick is the Twins, actually. And I know we haven't, they haven't made a mark in the last few years. But if you go by just the overall horsepower, it's probably the Twins. I think the Tigers were very impressive late last year. And I think the Guardians might be taking a step back. I think losing Jimenez and losing Naylor will hurt them, but they still will probably have the best bullpen in the game. and they'll still be decent. So it's wide open. If I had to make a pick, I don't even know what I would say. It probably wouldn't be the Guardians, but I'd be close between the Twins and the Royals.
We're talking to Brian Kinney of MLB Network. You mentioned to start this conversation just how wide open the league as a whole feels. We were saying the other day that it's a great thing to be on the AL side compared to the NL side, especially with the Dodgers right now. On the American League end, it feels like that is open for just about anybody as well, with some of the injuries that the Yankees are going to be dealing with to open up the season.
Well, I think there's a superpower, right? I say there's a vast middle class. There's that parity that baseball has been seeking for years, decades, that has been talked about, has finally been reached. But there's definitely a superpower. I think there's, that the Dodgers are out ahead of everybody else. That next tier, I think, of the Braves and the Phillies. Those are elite teams. The Yankees would have been one of those elite teams, but now their injuries to Cole, to Luis Gil, that brings them back to that vast middle class. I know Fangraphs projections has, get this, 18 teams being between 81 and 88 wins.
Wow.
18. So it's insane. So you again, how do you separate yourself? I think there's only 3 clubs that separate themselves. And yes, the Dodgers are a juggernaut. They are the new not the new, but they are an ascending superpower this year.
I guess a lot of that is I guess you play everyone in baseball anymore. We actually kind of view this, and I'm curious because you cover baseball for a living. You obviously love the sport like we do. With the Dodgers, if they keep winning at this rate, is that eventually going to force baseball to make some other things in place, like stopping deferred contracts or other things that they've been able to take advantage of? Because if one team dominates too much, even like the high-priced teams like the Yankees or the Mets or some of these other ones might start getting mad, not just the small ball teams like Kansas City.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot there. I would say I'm a fan of a super team. I like there being a focal point for the season. Also, the way the playoffs are structured, where you have to go through 3 tiers at least, even if you're a super team, the chances of you getting through are against you. So it's not fair. I don't like that part of it. I like the emotional investment of the full 6-month season. But I have to admit, the first round of playoffs, wild card is extended now. Fans love it. It gets great ratings. People get excited. More people in more markets get excited about it. So I get it. And that's here to stay. So I think that's kind of an equalizer. And I don't know if having a super team is bad. I know what you're saying. I think it would be bad if you had one team with, say you have the Royals or the Cardinals, teams that are trying, that do have a decent payroll. They're about mid-range, 15th in payroll out of the 30 teams. If they're 200 or $300 million in payroll away from the number one team, that's not good. But I think other than that, I like the idea of a super team.
We're talking to Brian Kinney of MLB Network. One reason why I think fans enjoyed last season even more than just the record was knowing that one of the guys leading that team a year ago and obviously leading this team this year is actually under contract for a while. They're not worried about Bobby Witt Jr. leaving after another year or two. The fact that he is locked up has allowed fans here to appreciate him even more. Is this the season that he gets the MVP? Because a lot of people here were upset, of course, that he did not win it due to Aaron Judge also having a ridiculously good season.
Well, it's very possible. I think, even last year between Witt, Gunnar, Henderson, and Judge, you had, 3 monsters, 3 guys who had a, 9-win season. That could be in any given year an MVP. I think Witt has hit another level and could absolutely be the best player in baseball. Now, does he put it all together in the way he did? Is he making improvements? I see that he is. So, yeah, you're looking – and the fact that he is signed up, again, and how does that contract look now? Where, it seemed like an enormous amount of money. Right, and now you're looking at, okay, now the new benchmark is $700 million. And so Juan Soto gets $700. Vlad Guerrero now is about to hit the market. He's saying, oh, you're offering me $400 or $500? Please. 700 is the new 300. So it's incredible. And so now, Witt's contract looks just tremendous. It was really a great strike by the Royals.
A lot of times, small market teams, when they pay that big price tag, the Twins with Mao or whatever, it can backfire because it happens a little bit later in their career. I guess, I always pine for the Royals to turn into one of those small market teams, Brian, that consistently wins, turns over their roster sometimes, even more than you like, because they're in the playoffs every year. Do you kind of feel like the way they're doing it now is closer to the way the small market teams like the Guardians or the Twins or the Rays have done it over the years to be consistently successful?
Well, yeah, we'll have to see if that holds. I mean, you've got to do a lot of things right, and you've got to hit on a lot of trades. You have to draft and develop, or be very good at something else, your international signings, in order to do that. But you're right. Look, the Rays were the early vanguard were the A's, right? The Moneyball A's. Then were the Rays. Now you kind of have the Rays, the Guardians, and the Brewers. The Brewers are about 22nd or 23rd in payroll. They put out a very good competitive team. So it is possible to do. I think we have to wait and see now if there is consistent winning from the Royals. That was a nice jump up to 86 wins. Can they get there again? Can they improve on that? And then they'll join that group. But there's certainly a leg up, because I said the first component is drafting and developing. If you get your superstar shortstop, that is the most difficult thing in the game to get, and they have it.
You've been able to witness so many Hall of Fame careers of baseball talent in your years covering the league. Salvador Perez, obviously beloved here in Kansas City. He's 35 this year. He's coming off one of his better seasons. He's got a club option after this year, and we've been trying to figure out, all right, how many more years is he going to play? Do you believe he has already put himself as a strong Hall of Fame candidate? Is he a Hall of Famer, or does he have some work to do?
It's tough to say right now. I think we need to reevaluate, and we are in the next couple of years going to be reevaluating what a Hall of Fame catcher is. If you just looked at the normal way we judge these things, the way we have been judging these things, Yadier Molina falls short. Buster Posey will fall short. So I think that forces the voters and all of us to look at this differently, that, hey, as a catcher, you might not need 60 WAR or 70 WAR. That catching is different, and it's a different aspect of the game, and that you have to look at it differently. That, yes, Molina feels like a Hall of Famer. Posey feels like a Hall of Famer. So if that's the case, then how did Jorge Posada fall off the ballot under 5%? That, makes no sense. Perez is in a different category, but I think we'll reevaluate it, some sort of approximation of what Yadier Molina or Buster Posey was. Not exactly. He's his own different guy, but I think it calls for a fresh interpretation of what Hall of Fame catching is.
All right, Brian, we'll put you on the spot before we let you get out of here. Do you think the Royals make the playoffs?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Brian Kenny, MLB Network, great insight. Great to talk to you. Enjoy the start of the season.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Take care.
You got it. So that was Brian Kenny with us here on 96.5 The Fan. It's always good to kind of get an outside Kansas City perspective on what he's seeing in baseball, what he's seeing from Bobby Wood Jr. And then I wanted to ask about Salvi there, because that's still one of those deals where we've talked over and over in terms of Hall of Fame Royals players in the future. Very rarely are you going to be able to see a player spend their whole career with a franchise like Kansas City in today's economics of baseball. And Salvi could be the last, not just Royals Hall of Famer, but we're talking about obviously baseball Hall of Famer.
I think I'm Bobby Jr. now, so I got but their whole career.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Bobby obviously, but I don't know. Bobby's gonna be here for 15 years. I mean, unfortunately, the chances of that are slim. Salvador Perez has a chance to do that, and we just wanted to ask Brian Kenny about where he's at, and he said, yeah, we do need to look at how we judge the catchers entering the Hall of Fame that are up for the ballot in the Hall of Fame a little bit differently than maybe we once did, and he referenced Yadier Molina as well. Now, Drew, you said you have an update. Did you place the show bets for today's game?
Yes, the show bets have been placed again. As a reminder, it was a Hunter Renfroe homer. It was a Michael Massey homer. Two separate ones, not parlayed together. That would be crazy. But so I did get a boost.
That would have gotten us some pretty good odds.
So I got a boost for one of them. What I did was I put the boost on Massey because Massey had the longer odds to hit the homer. So Renfroe was 10 to win 70, Massey 10 to win 98 with the boost.
Nice. We need a home run from one of them. Really.
Let's get both.
One of them. Both would be great. One of them would be great.
Yeah, either one would be fine. More than clear our action there. Okay. Sounds good, Drew. Thank you for placing those.
We can't use the weather as an excuse. Oh, it's early. It's cold. The ball's not going to fly. No. It's going to be at 4 o'clock today. It's going to be 80 degrees. You got cloud cover as well. The ball, should have an opportunity to fly out of the park. I know it's a big park and all that, but we can't use it's not going to hit a home run today. It's 35 degrees outside. No, No, that's not an excuse today.
That's just definitively not. Yeah, that's not an issue.
We'll talk to Vern
versus the rest of
about today, and of course also the pitching matchup. Now that Bybee is not pitching, we're going to have Vern join us about 15 minutes, our Royals insider, before his on deck show, which of course is back at 2:00, first time this year, coming up here on 96.5 The Fan.
How reassured were you the fact that Vinnie is able to play Game 1? Boy, what a feeling! I saw Q had said that he considered Salvi at first, but that fans who were here for opening day deserve to see Salvi behind the dish. They deserve to see Salvi catching, for opening day fans. So Salvi might be at first on Saturday, might be at first on Sunday, which is okay. I think you maybe take a week of Vinny just straight DHing and finagle it that way until you're like, yeah, we're good, we're fine. The fact that he can play Game 1, though, gives me all the confidence that the training staff will find a way to make sure this isn't a long-term issue. If you heard JJ Picollo earlier, he talked about the injury a little bit. He said he comped it to maybe the grade they had on Gurriel, and he made it sound like it was like a month. It was like a month of Gurriel, babying, keeping him on the field, keeping an eye on it, being careful, being smart, making those decisions, and then getting him full bore by the time a month or so had ended. If that's how you do it with Vinny, cool. Baby him a little bit, give him more games at DH than maybe you were originally thinking for month 1, but by the end of the month, he'll be fine. He'll feel, or by the end of April, feel good, feel fine, and you can go the rest of the season with Vinnie Pasquantino in the middle of your order.
Yeah, there's no reason to have pushed it, but DH allows him to still keep. You need that bat in the lineup without worrying about re-aggravating an injury, especially something like a hamstring or anything like that. I pulled up some nerdy metrics while we were talking about the home runs. So today, 13-mile-per-hour wind at 4 o'clock. That's steady for the whole game. Guess what, though? It's blowing left center. Left center.
Nice.
Left center, south-southwest.
Nice.
That's what it says it's supposed to
You're
do
pulling
today.
up wind patterns at the K.
This is an analytical betting site that does for baseball game betting, and they break down the wind and the direction. And so you know if it's a good day to bet on home runs or not. And based off this, it is blowing out to left field. It's not blowing in. So we'll see if that holds. Let's get to the random question of the day.
Random question.
Do our best here. Random question of the day brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Results every week and then receive free support for life online at awaken180weightloss.com. Very simple random question of the day today after LeBron James spent an hour in studio with Pat McAfee yesterday, and then Stephen A. responded to some of those comments, and then LeBron hit the game winner in the game last night against the Pacers.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, hit the game winner against the Pacers last night. Very simple question. We made ours in the last fight that included a media member. Chose sides. Are you Team LeBron or are you Team Stephen A.?
Yeah, so, the whole thing's embarrassing, for starters,
for everybody?
for both parties, but I'm Team LeBron on this one. At some point, Stephen A. saying he was going to swing at LeBron. Stop. The reason why I'm Team LeBron, and I know LeBron brought it back up yesterday because he was on the McAfee show, but Stephen A., you also, it goes back to when this first happened. When it first happened, LeBron obviously, I thought actually was wrong because Stephen A. didn't say anything bad about Bronny, over crossing a line, right? He said he was correct in Bronny, his son. And look, LeBron was acting as a father to back up his son. I understand. I didn't think Stephen A. did anything wrong then. But then the very next day, Stephen A. Smith was on First Take and making sure everybody knew about this story. Oh, I didn't want to talk about it, but everybody's talking about it.
I'm going to talk about it.
So
he went on 19 different podcasts talking about it.
But I don't. I honestly, I don't care at all about this LeBron, Stephen A. I couldn't care less.
Okay, so if I have to choose sides, I'm Team LeBron, not Team Stephen A. on this one, largely because they're you weren't throwing a punch. Now, you don't have to lie about it. Before, you did what I would call as normal entertainment-style journalism. You called it nepotism. You said it's ridiculous that Bronny was in the league. It got a little too personal, in fairness, but it's also not wild to make that comment at that time because that's what it was, right? At the time, that's what it was. But also, stop taking swings at guys.
Yeah.
LeBron, his whole thing is just back to a parent thing, which is a pretty easy stance to take. I am going to stand up for my kid. And also, I don't know if anyone's been paying attention. Bronny's actually been a little bit better.
Yeah, he's been good in the G League.
In a game the other day. He scored 40 in a G League game.
Yeah, good for
he
him.
might be
G League. Keyword. You said G League. That's where he should be. Yeah.
I think what he is a fringe NBA guy right now. He probably is talented enough that at the end of an NBA roster wouldn't be crazy. And the way he's playing in the G League, where he's being at a level of dominance at times. He would be like an NBA guy, and if his name wasn't LeBron James, you wouldn't know about him, and he'd be player 12, and it'd be fine, but because they forced him into the league early, it all feels weird now. And but I thought Stephen A. got a little too personal with it. His biggest problem is that he went on 58,000 podcasts to be like, I'm in the right here on LeBron, and I didn't do anything to make him mad, and now he's saying he would have thrown a punch. Drew, which team are you on? So we're Team LeBron over here.
Yeah, I'm also Team LeBron, and it's interesting.
Or team just like I'm done with it. I don't know which one.
I think I'm a little bit there too, but I think it's
team none of it.
It's just really weird. I mean, we got a Kendrick and Drake beef. We have a LeBron and Stephen A. beef all within a calendar year. It's kind of nuts, but I think that it's interesting. LeBron, it's not just a Stephen A. thing. LeBron was calling everybody out yesterday. He was calling out the media for saying these guys act like we're friends when I don't want anything to do with you. It's weird the way that the media covers. I mean, he was going after everybody. It wasn't just Stephen A. When he was on with Pat. So very, very interesting to hear some of the comments.
He pretty much just said nobody knows ball. His whole thing yesterday was, we get a lot of stupid takes out there because nobody knows ball. Nobody knows basketball like me, you know?
I mean, there's some truth to that. There is some truth to that.
I mean, he said that the reason why he's been able to play at 40 is not because he's a freak athlete, like some of it, but the reason why he's still able to play is because he knows basketball, which I actually do.
Well, no kidding. Yeah, obviously
believe that,
he does.
Like he knows it as well as he does. I actually do believe that.
I just think
you have to take the whole media industry.
This whole back and forth, jumped the shark a long time ago. I just don't care. Stephen A. is obviously extremely gifted and talented at what he does as well. The dude just signed a $100 million deal. Good for him. LeBron, obviously, we don't need to get into the MJ-LeBron debate, but he's, if not the greatest, the second greatest player of all time. Cool. I just don't care about this weird media beef. They're probably both just doing it for attention.
He brought up MJ yesterday, actually, too.
Well, MJ's lucky, dude, because he would have also hated the era of social media.
Oh, I think every athlete hates it. Every athlete hates the betting thing. I mean, you see athletes, whether it's high-profile guys or low-profile guys. It's like, man, I don't care about your parlay, man. You know, anybody on social media getting attacked, everybody is – there's more athletes. Athletes are all vocal about it. You know, it doesn't matter who they are.
Someone says, all these millionaires Drew brought up with beefs. Life must just stink, man. Rich.
Honestly, maybe you're just bored, you know?
I'm just
saying. Bored. Stephen A. just signed a $100 million contract.
Just because you're rich doesn't mean you don't like people. You know what I mean? Everybody, you have somebody you don't really care for, right? There might be somebody you're just not a big fan of. Whether you got money or don't have money, there's always somebody you're like, I just don't really like that person's personality or whatever.
We're pretty much no level of fame at all, and there's still people who send us hateful stuff and be like, I hate you. Actually, I got to say, I walked past this grouping of girls over here.
Okay.
And so I walked past, and as I was going towards the restroom, one of them in earshot said I think that's one of the guys from 96.5. But I just kept walking.
How old were these
They're
people?
They look like they're in their 30s.
Okay.
I come back through this group of girls in their 30s, and she said, hold on, wait. And she stopped me, and she looked at my press credential and said, what's your name? And then she said, Cody. She said, I told him. She said, they did. She said, I did. She said, I said you were from Cody and something. I couldn't remember the other name.
Wow.
I was like, his name's gold.
Ouch.
His name's gold.
Humbling experience.
She said Cody and something.
Ouch.
I was like, his name's pretty memorable.
Damn.
She said, you make sure that he knows that I thought you were more important. I was like, more important?
I'm glad they didn't walk over here.
Oh, my God.
You don't need that kind of energy.
They can stay. They can just stay over there, you know.
Miss me with that, is what Gold said. He said, miss me with that.
Basically.
I stood up for you. I want you to make it clear. I stood up for you. I said you should know his name, too. It's Gold.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
We appreciate those of you texting in as well. 913-586-7965. Up next, we are joined by our Royals insider, Josh Vernier. He's got his On Deck show coming up at 2. He's ready to rock and roll. We got a lot to address with him about this season. See if he agrees with one of us on our boldest Royals take for the season. That's next here on 96.5 The Fan.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
If you want your lawn green and healthy this year, start with the big yellow bag of Prevent. Formulated for the Midwest, GrassPads Prevent feeds the lawn and keeps out ugly crabgrass. You simply spread it on the yard right before rain or water it in. Make sure that your lawn is ready for the year with Prevent and stop crabgrass and grassy weeds before they start.
Come on down to the grass pad. The grass pad's high on grass.
paid for client portrayal and endorsement. Choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results, and every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
I got hurt in a car wreck. Give me one good reason why I should call DM Law.
How about 3 great reasons you should call us? 1, it's easy. You can hire us today on your phone. 2, it's fast. We can start helping you today. 3, the results.
After my wreck, DM Law got me $200,000. Mike's got this.
Call me. I've got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Empower. Nick bought a new guitar, a 62 American Classic Electric. Does he know how to play? No. But Nick's Empower investment account has performed well. He got good at money, so he can be a little bad. Empower. Invest well, live a little. Start today at empower.com.
Past performance is not indicative of future returns. Investing involves risks. You may lose money. Advisory services are provided for a fee by Empower Advisory Group, LLC, EAG, a registered investment advisor with the Securities and Exchange Commission. This is a really good guitar solo.
At Diamonds Direct, our experts go the extra mile to ensure you have the tools to say I do with absolute confidence. Our promise to you is a completely risk-free shopping experience, rooted in transparency, education, and integrity. No pressure, no intimidation, just clarity and confidence in your purchase. But we're about more than just price. Everything is backed by our exclusive guarantees. Put our tools to the test against any competitor, and our expert staff will ensure you get the very best overall value and unforgettable experience. Learn more at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
This is Blake Fanning, here with fresh deals at Shawnee Mission Ford. We're on a mission to save you more. And during Ford Truck Month, you can take advantage of 1.9% APR for 36 months on all new 24 F-150 crew cabs, plus $5,000 off MSRP on all 24 F-150 STX and XLT models. Don't miss these Truck Month savings at Shawnee Mission Ford. And don't forget our lifetime powertrain warranty, along with our 1-year Select Plus protection on all new vehicles purchased. Don't let Truck Month pass without getting the F-150 you want and take advantage of 1.9% APR for 36 months on all new 24 F-150 crew cabs. That's 1.9% financing on all F-150 crew cabs. And $5,000 off MSRP on all 24 F-150 XTXs and XLT models. So get your truck for a great deal right now during Truck Month at Shawnee Mission Ford. Shawnee Mission Ford, on a mission to save you more. All in-stock items include dealer discount and Ford rebates. Taxes, title, and fees additional. Offer ends 3/31/25.
Bracket busted? Well, new customers at FanDuel can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to bet on everything from clutch shots to last-second heartbreaks and even who you think will cut down the nets. And if you've been waiting to join, well, there's no time like the present. So go ahead and check out FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. There's tournament action almost every day, and FanDuel has amazing bets like spreads, total, game props, and so much more. So visit FanDuel.com/KFNZ and get in on college hoop action all March long. FanDuel is an official partner of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued and non-withdrawable bonus bets will expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kennesaw Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Get help with your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Mom, I need to lay low for a few days.
Lay low? What's going on?
I only paid for this Hyundai Tucson.
Christopher Allen Lynch.
Deal's so right, it almost feels wrong. Get the car or SUV you want at the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Right now, get 2.99% APR for 72 months on the Hyundai Santa Fe, Tucson, or Elantra. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today. Offers end March 31st. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
Gain Super Flings are here to take your laundry to the next level.
Talking about Gain Super Flings. Super-sized laundry packs. These things are huge. Super fresh, super clean. Gain Super Flings.
Gain Super Flings laundry packs have 4 times the Oxy cleaning power and 3 times the Febreze freshness versus Gain Original Liquid.
Super fresh, super clean. Gain Super Flings.
Gain Super Flings for next level laundry.
At Uline,
They know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Get 5 quarts of O'Reilly Full Synthetic Motor Oil and a MicroGuard oil filter for $29.99. In-store only. Limit supply.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
So, your small business is outgrowing your garage. You could go online, find a space, and get catfished. Or you could work with an agent who's a realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. Right by you.
Kansas City, this is Michael Massey. Listen to the play-by-play all season long with Denny, Jake, Ryan, and Stu right here on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
1 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon producing the show back in our studios. We are getting closer and closer to first pitch of 2025. Vern's on Deck show just under an hour away, the first one of 2025. And our Royals insider Josh Vernier joins us outside Gate D, and you'll be doing your on Deck show from here today as well. A lot to get into with you because I want to talk about tomorrow night as well, and we're hoping to see a lot of listeners out of the Hollywood Casino for a great roundtable. The expectations are real this year for the Royals. You know, it's not just, well, be competitive. Win this division, be right there in this division. That's fun.
Yeah, there's a reason for the expectations, because I think we had expectations when we sat out here last year. Yeah. It was a touch bit more, and JJ mentioned this a little while ago, a little bit more hopeful last year. This isn't a hopeful expectation. It's a bit more of a demanding expectation. And, last time I think we had that was 2017, which just so happened to be just a few weeks before the Chiefs drafted Patrick Mahomes. So really this, to me, is the greatest opening day that Kansas City's ever seen, where there's true expectations based on evidence coupled with the greatest quarterback of all time and a dynastic football team across the way.
Oh, no big deal. You just might have the best football player on the planet and the best baseball player on the planet at the same time.
And they seem like good dudes, great Kansas Cityans.
The Players Tribune article from Bobby yesterday was awesome.
And they were both, they both love the city and are like they are cut from the same cloth. And I don't just say that because we're in Kansas City. Like, if you're around them enough, they are determined winners. Like, I will fall on my sword to win. And that you don't get that out of every athlete. We always try to pretend like everyone cares at that level. They don't. Some guys care about money or a million other things or whatever. Those guys both, when Bobby says, I don't have any season goals for myself, my goal is to win, he means it.
Yeah. Oh, without question. And the thing that interests me, a lot of things interest me when it comes to Bobby Witt Jr., but I don't know when you guys would know better than me, when the first time you would say, when it comes to Patrick Mahomes, there's what makes him great. Maybe it's the throw against the Niners. Maybe it happened early, but it now happens pretty consistently in big games. You see the fire in Patrick Mahomes. That's what makes him great. He can dig deep and find something extra that nobody else really in the history of the sport's been able to find. Bobby doesn't show that very often. He's always that, salt of the earth, humble, nice young man. There are certain occasions, I always bring up the triple that he hit in that great comeback against the Mariners, when he shoots a glare to the dugout that, still gives me chills. You could feel it in your bones. Whatever that fire is that allows Bobby to be the best player on the planet, he doesn't show it very often. His teammates don't get to see that fire very often, but in talking with Vinnie Pasquantino a few weeks ago, he says we'll see it on occasion in tight games, in big moments, in the dugout. You can see that competitiveness, you can see that fire, that desire, that want to win within Bobby. So I'm interested if that comes to the forefront a little bit more, because it seems whenever there's a big game across the parking lot, Patrick's putting those emotions and that fire for everyone to see.
You're calling this year the Sophomore Album. Why? We know if everybody's been following this since, 2012 when you first started doing this maybe? Mm-hmm. Why the Sophomore Album? What do you mean by that?
Well, I think last year baseball fans fell in love with the Royals. I understand people are over the Chiefs and there's more haters than there are supporters. I think this Royals team is, basically like where the Chiefs were in 2019, 2020. It's tough not to like young Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek and Kelsey and that early Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes Chiefs ball club. I think the average baseball fan loves Bobby Witt Jr. I mean, those guys became stars last year with that debut album of 2024. Bobby's one of the 5 most marketed players, 10 most marketed players in Major League Baseball. Salvi and Waka, I think, further cemented just great careers. If you're a baseball fan, you're aware now of Cole Ragans and Seth Lugo and Vinnie Pasquantino. Not even a diehard baseball fan, but if you're an average baseball fan, you now know those names. So I think last year's debut album put these guys on the map, made them stars, and even if there were, and you guys know there were a lot of doubters in April, May, and even into June last season, those doubters are few and far between now. Everyone loves the Royals. Everyone's on the bandwagon because of what they did last season. So now as we prepare for 2025, how do you follow it up? Because if they do the same, Cody, if it's a repeat of 2024, if they're the DMX of baseball or the Clash of baseball and they just do on the second album what they did on the first, a lot of us would take it. But if we're being honest, I want to see everything that I fell in love with last year and a little bit more. I want to see that evolution. I want to see that growth. I want to see the improvement. Can you be Nirvana, A Tribe Called Quest? Can you be Led Zeppelin, Kendrick Lamar, and the second is even better than the first? That's the question, and I think fans will give excuses like fans of bands do. Even if you're not vibing to the first few tracks, you'll go along with it. You'll try to see what they're doing. You'll make excuses, but that's only going to last so long before they start calling you Hootie and the Blowfish.
No, you don't want to be that. You don't want to be. I mean, look, Hootie's fine, I guess.
I hope Darius Rucker's not around.
He's done fine for himself,
No, Darius is doing well, but Hootie.
R.I.P. DMX?
Yeah, R.I.P.
I thought so.
Yeah.
At least, look, here's the truth.
The great DMX.
They are. There's a photo of my wife. She's like 15 years old, heading to Spain with DMX. She's standing next to DMX at a Spain airport.
Yeah, that's awesome.
For just no reason.
Good for her for taking advantage of that opportunity.
Her 2 best photos are that one, and she has a photo of the original Beethoven from the movie at a Blockbuster video.
No kidding, huh?
And I just they were doing tours. I was like, those are 2 amazing photos of youth. I can't top those.
No, and you got, young Patrick Mahomes. You've been to Super Bowls and World Series.
I can't be Beethoven.
She has Darkman X and the original Beethoven.
Man. I don't think it's that crazy to think that the sophomore album will be better, though. Last year, we talked on this right here, sitting here last year, we were like, well, 80% of the roster is different. And that's fine because they lost 106 games last year, so whatever. This year, they didn't have to change that much. They just said, what if our bullpen had 3 guys who were better than everyone else last year, and we just pushed everyone down the order? And then what if we counted on this offense being better, and instead we gave ourselves a true leadoff hitter, and we'll still bank on the same things. Hope Massey's keeps improving. Hope MJ turns it around. Hope Isbell is a better hit. Whatever, right? But we just gave ourselves a true leadoff hitter, too. Equal quality in starting rotation. Way better in the bullpen. Equal quality in the lineup, except for better now because you have the it doesn't seem like a leap to me that this is a better team.
Yeah, but I mean, you are kind of skimming past the fact that Bobby was MVP runner-up, Lugo was Cy Young runner-up,
and they were healthy.
Cole Ragans finished 4th for the Cy Young. So yeah, if you're going to tell me that those 3 things will be duplicated, Michael Waka is going to make 25-plus starts and 170 innings, well then, yeah, I agree. The sophomore album will be certainly no worse than what we saw last year. But a lot like what they're saying in Minnesota right now, Twins fans, the big 3 in this lineup, Vinnie, Salvi, Bobby, the big 3 in this rotation with Waka, Lugo, and Ragans, if they can be what they were last year and duplicate it, well, yeah, this team's going to be there in the end, just like they're saying with Royce Lewis, Correa, Byron Buxton, and then their starters in Bailey Ober, Joe Ryan, and Pablo Lopez. if the Royals can stay healthy, I'm with you. They are even better than last year. Now, again, I do think we're skimming over what Brady Singer meant to that team. I mean, there was an outside case that he could, sneak his, backdoor his way into the All-Star game. He was pitching so well in the first half of last season. I believe in Chris Bubich, but dude needs to go do it. Michael Lorenzen, if he can avoid the walks, that's a solid number 5 starter. But let's remember, 4-5 last year for the first half of the season. Alec Marsh and Brady Singer, we had conversations on this show that each of them at times were the third best arm in this rotation. Will we have that conversation at some point about Bubich and Lorenzen? I hope so. I'm certainly not banking on it.
We're talking to Josh Vernier, our Royals Insider. Reminder, his On Deck show gets going at 2 o'clock right here on your home for the Royals, 96.5 The Fan. A couple days ago, we went through and gave what we view as our bold take of the entire season. Text line chimed in as well. For me, it was Carlos Estevez. Of course, they signed him on that 2-year deal to have a career high in saves and be an all-star. And you're like, well, how do we get here? Well, 31 saves was a career high, or is his current career high. He was an all-star that year, back when he was with the Angels. It's been 2 years, I believe it is, since he did that. If we think this team, and I do at least, is going to be in that 90-win range, the fact that they have multiple bullpen arms, yeah, maybe they can rotate him around. Urseg seems more of a fireman type of role than, he's going to be our 9th inning guy. What do you think of that as a take? Do you think that's crazy?
Certainly not crazy, because the ability and the paycheck given to Carlos Estevez lends itself to accumulating saves. Urseg's still pre-arb. Hunter Harvey's not making a lot of money. Angel Zerpa's not making a lot of money. And JJ still has a boss, and you want to be able to present to your boss, hey, that guy we gave all this money to, look at all the saves that he's been building up. Listen, Ian Kennedy picked up 30 saves for the 2019 team. And that team stunk out loud. So 32 saves from Estevez, and I think the All-Star bid might be more difficult than the saves, just because
Clase and these other guys in the.
Well, and Bobby's going. Yeah. We're hoping that a starter or two will go. Salvy's likely going. To me, he's like an offensive lineman in the Pro Bowl, man. You've done it enough. You just go after a while. So I think there are 3 Royals that are almost automatically all-stars if they can stay healthy. That's not even talking about a guy that I think is the best first baseman in the division, in Vinnie Pasquantino, Seth Lugo, and then a bullpen arm might be the 5th or 6th option. So I think the save's honestly more likely than making the All-Star team.
Mine is that Massey was going to hit 25 homers.
Which is another way of saying Massey stays healthy all season.
Yes.
Sure.
I might as well. I mean, those are similar sentences because he definitely has 25 home run power.
Yeah.
I don't fear it from that end. He obviously
does he have a total? Because if you would have asked me, I would have said 20, 22, something like that.
Offshore's not even that. It's lower than that, 17, 18.
Okay.
It's a number a little bit lower than you would think.
Well, I'd take the over because again, and I've mentioned this to you guys before, Massey, like so many in the past, is one to obsess, especially in the cage. And hitting at the big league level, there's so much failure, you could understand how that would consume your every waking thought. So I think, him learning a new position in spring training helped take his mind off of the, over analyzing his swing and just working himself into the ground. That coupled with the confidence boost that I think he received with that October performance, 25 home runs not out of the realm of possibility.
What would yours be? What would your bold stance on like something
for
that
a player?
happens?
Yeah, I guess.
Sure. My guess for Massey's home run, I would say over 20 home runs.
Okay.
Certainly for Massey, a bold, Noah Cameron makes 10 starts.
Ooh,
okay,
wow.
That's bold.
Is that bold?
I think so.
Somebody earlier tried to say Jack Caglione will hit 15 home runs. I was like, when's he getting up?
Whoa.
When's he getting up? That's even bolder than
15 homers in 25 games, Vern.
Yeah.
He just comes up and he has that Ellie run.
The thing is, though,
September.
And I do it too often where I try to tamper expectations and I bring everybody down and I'm a bucket of cold water. And then I listen to Mike Sweeney talk about Jack Caglione. I listened earlier this morning to George Brett talking about Jack Caglione. I'm like, okay, well, you know what? To hell with it. I mean, if the greatest Royal ever and, arguably the greatest right-handed hitter that this organization has ever seen. If they're willing to heap praise on a young man like that, and I know they get paychecks from the Royals, but big leaguers, just like, broadcasters, some young broadcaster walks up, you guys are going to be like, oh, you're the best, you're the next greatest thing. No, you got to earn your stripes, right? You got to get some dirt in your cleats, and Cags doesn't have any dirt in his cleats, and the GOATs are already calling him the next Bo Jackson.
So for Noah Cameron, do you think that it's eventually Lorenzen kind of wiggles his way out of that 5 spot because he feels like he's just kind of holding it anyway for either Marsh or Wright or Cameron in this case anyway? So
somebody's getting hurt in the rotation, though.
I mean that's
sad. I know I hate to say that, but they were so healthy in the rotation last year.
And listen, initially, I want to respond with, Bubic eventually finds his way out of the rotation. But in listening to JJ a little while ago, you accumulate not only his numbers that he put up innings-wise at the big leagues, but the minor leagues and rehab assignments. And, JJ put a number of 130 to 150 innings out there for Bubic.
That could be 25 starts.
That could, and if you manage him right, that could be, basically the whole season. You skip a few starts here and there. But to me, Cameron replaces him. I think that's an easier they're both very similar in that they're not going to overpower you with velocity, but they're going to hit their spots, hitting all 4 quadrants of the strike zone. I still don't think Bubic ends the season in the rotation. I'm with you. I don't think Lorenzen does either. Cameron, Marsh maybe come and save the day down the stretch.
Also, Kyle Wright, he's on the IL to start the season. What do you expect out of him?
I don't know. I don't.
Seems like
really,
a dart throw to me. Like
lottery ticket. Like what was Chris Medlin a few years ago? I think he made half a dozen starts, pitched out of the bullpen. No, I'm hoping it's more. It's you're coming off an injury like that, and immediately in spring you tweak your hamstring. It just seems as if you try to rush it, you try to put too much on his plate, you're overcompensating somewhere else, and that leads to a further injury. So it's all gravy, in my opinion. Maybe not John Sherman's opinion, but it's all gravy the way I see it with Kyle Wright.
Josh Vernier joining us here on Cody and Gold. MJ Melendez, that's the name all spring training everybody's been just trying to figure out, right? Like for his own personal career, this is a huge season. For the Royals to swing from maybe being an 85 to 87 win team to a 90-plus win team, maybe MJ Melendez is the answer to that. You saw him in spring training. Everybody says he looks good. How confident are you that can click at the plate for him this year?
Well, I don't want to say that I'm not confident, but I'm not pulling out the pom-poms.
You're not buying yet.
Yeah. We know he's good. We've seen him good for multiple months consistently, right? The second half of 24, the second half of 23. He was a quality number 6, number 7 hitter with some pop. I mean, even earlier in the season, he won you a few games last year. The thing is with MJ, though, they're no longer shackled to him. If he stinks, we know India and Massey have been moonlighting in the outfield. Now, if he and Renfroe both stink, okay, we might have a different conversation. I just think they're better protected, and I think that's why you saw so much. It's why you saw the versatility highlighted the way that it was with Massey and India and Garcia all getting time in the outfield. So, listen, I know it's in there for MJ Melendez. We all could talk about the swing changes all we want. But what do you do when you're 0 for 10? Do you revert back to what got you here? Who's in your ear? What are they telling you? Or, you got to the big league swinging a certain way. Are you convinced that you're going to abandon that and try something different? It's easier said than done. It's easy to try new things out in spring training, but when you're out here in front of 40,000 and, the team's struggling, fans are getting on your case, you might just say to hell with it, and then that could lead to, honestly, it could lead to the end of your time in Kansas City. It could lead to your exit from big league baseball. We've seen guys go from the next big thing to out of the game in the blink of an eye plenty of times.
It's why I think more than any player probably on the entire team. We've talked about other slow starters on this team. Like Vinnie's been kind of a slow starter every once in a while. He has to have a good start to the season because the Moose comparisons, for those to work, he has to get the confidence Moose got from the 2014 postseason run. He has to go up there and hit and feel like he can hit. I feel like if he starts the season well, then he will stick with it. And those things will continue and MJ won't be worried about it all the time. Look, he was pretty telling with us when the interview he did. We said his dad's been telling him for 3 years to change his swing. He's like, for years my dad's been saying, change it. His dad, a baseball coach, has been telling him it isn't, like you should do something different. But it is hard when you get to the bigs. But I feel like he needs the confidence that, like, it's actually a successful system.
I agree 100%. And, last year I think he was able to persevere through the offensive struggles because he was playing some pretty good defense.
Yeah,
running the bases well. He was still able to help the team win. Confidence is key, but you can search for confidence for a while so long as the team is winning. If he's struggling and the team is struggling, that could be a very rapid downward spiral.
Cole Ragans, opening day starter here in a couple hours. We'll play some of our conversation with him again coming up in about 10 minutes or so. We were saying, like, he's one of the guys, like, we feel like you just don't even worry about. Like, I feel like we know what we're going to get. The question is there even another level to that? And I don't know if does that even exist? I mean, the guy had 223 strikeouts last year.
I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what I'm asking more.
Peach pitching.
Yes, I'm saying. Like, I feel like we know what we're getting. One of the best pitchers in baseball.
Because I wouldn't ask them to, pull them earlier than they did because you have a better bullpen. Now, you do that with Lorenzen. You can do that with Bubic. Maybe even Michael Wacha doesn't face a lineup a third time through. But Lugo and Ragans, man, you can go all 9 if you have it. Just being face-to-face with Cole, your guys' conversation with him, what struck you about the personality, about the man?
He strikes me a lot more like Wade Davis. He's machine-like. He cares. Every detail, every moment, every pitch. I think he thinks about it analytically in the sense that he wants to execute. Terminator stuff, right? I view him like that kind of pitcher.
The only pushback to Wade Davis is I don't think Wade Davis was on the verge of throwing up every single time he threw.
I know, but he says once he starts pitching, he says that goes away.
Right.
So I think there is, that's the difference. But I think once he starts pitching, all that fades.
That's what he said. Yeah, he said, once I'm out there, I'm good. But every game he gets jitters as well.
It's wild. I mean, it's appreciated, especially if I was a young ball player listening, because I know when I was coming up.
Nervous player.
I was just throughout school all day. I'd be like, please don't hit the ball to me. Oh my God. And I loved it, but I was just so nervous. For him to put that out there, I think is, reflective of a very confident and secure young man.
Tomorrow night, Vern, you got a roundtable with Michael Massey, Kyle Isbell. We're all going to be out there, plus a meet and greet with the players. 6 o'clock, Hollywood Casino.
Yeah, I'll be out there quite a bit earlier trying to
get some bets in for the Sweet 16.
Possibly. Well,
He's got the Michigan hat on.
Yeah, I'm just going to follow Gold. You gave me a few the other day when I passed.
Wow,
you at
the weekend
studio.
treated me better.
Yeah.
The first 2 days of the tournament was not great. Saturday and Sunday were much better.
Well, yeah, we can go out, we can make some bets, but I'm also going to try to find out what the Royals fan in attendance tomorrow at Hollywood Casino, what you want to know. So I'll take your questions for today's center fielder and today's second baseman, Kyle Isbell and Michael Massey. And then, they'll be signing autographs. They'll take pictures. They'll chat it up, look back, hopefully, on today's victory. Should be a great time. I know they're excited.
Yeah, another reason for a win today, right? Like, everybody's just going to feel even better. They get a win today. It's one game, but you know what I mean. It's just a different vibe. Plus, the Sweet 16's going on, so if you do want to slide over there after we're talking and hang out, Cody's trying to talk me into go playing craps instead after the
I said, let's get a table. The listeners, something let's get a table going.
Do some craps after we hear from the guys.
Yeah, that's where you'll find me. I'll be right there next to you guys.
Are you suiting up tomorrow? Are you going polo? What are you doing?
Haven't thought about it, but no, I mean, probably something similar to what I'm wearing right now. I just always try to dress like a professional golfer. I hate golf, but they
dress
just
like a professional
They look
golfer.
So comfortable.
Those
the shirts
pants,
all breathe, the pants breathe. I'm a sweaty dude, so I'll be dressed like a hack golfer.
And just for those who haven't met him, Massey and Isbell, great guys to interact with.
Oh.
I mean, and, we've got a great relationship with Massey on the show, too, but, just great people to interact with and be around.
Yeah, and without sounding like a homer, really that clubhouse is jerkless.
Yeah.
It's tough to find someone where you're like, I've had guys where
you've been around plenty of guys.
I root against them. I don't want you to succeed because you're a whatever. They don't have that. No, man. And it's no surprise. That's Q. That's JJ. You guys know John Sherman, Bobby, Salvi, the leaders on this team. Good dudes, along with great ball players.
That comment stood out for me from JJ. He said it was a perfect spring training. like there was ne'er a thing out of place. Everyone showed up, everyone worked, everyone went home. Like he said, it was a flawless spring training.
The thing that kept striking me as I would stand in that clubhouse was there are no youngsters, right? There's no one where I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to see how you The only person that hasn't been a part of a playoff chase in that clubhouse is Jonathan India.
And he's a professional baseball player.
The only guys that haven't appeared in a playoff game are India and Daniel Lynch, and Lynch was just because they had so many other pitchers to turn to last season. So even though age-wise they're not a old group, it's a clubhouse full of vets that have been there, done that, or at least pretty deep into October.
Lastly, I know you're got to get ready for On Deck show coming up at 2 o'clock, but little switch in the pitching matchup today. Food poisoning. Have you figured out what restaurant poisoned the Cleveland Guardians pitcher for today's game?
Now that implies that it was like the Michael Jordan in Salt Lake City.
You don't think he was just at Grand Falloon and had a good time last night?
I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't.
Before opening day, that'd be a wild time.
I would like to think that a restaurant on the text line right now would claim it.
Yeah, just stake your claim down.
Kansas City will love you forever. You do something like that, so long as Ben Lively doesn't come out here and carve them up.
Yeah. Wait to take credit until after the win.
Right.
Yeah.
Ben Lively, a guy that was a former Royal.
He barely even played it here. I mean, he was
He
here.
was given up by like 5 different teams.
Yeah, he was really good for Cleveland last year.
Very good.
Yeah. All right, Vern. Appreciate it, man. And we'll be listening. 2 o'clock, Vern's On Deck show. And then, of course, tomorrow night, hope to see all of you out at Hollywood Casino. Up next, we'll get to what's trending, plus our conversation with Cole Ragans, today's opening day starter.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Bobby Witt Jr., and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hy-Vee's new fresh fried donuts are pure melt-in-your-mouth happiness with icing on top. Fresh out of the fryer every morning, you'll fall in love at first bite. Mix and match your favorite glazed donuts, donut holes, fritters, twists, cream-filled Long John, sprinkles, and gourmet delights. Pick up a dozen today. You'll be the hero of the morning meeting, queen of the book club, classroom parent of the year. Sweeten someone's day with decadent fresh fried donuts only from Hy-Vee.
I love saving money, and Hy-Vee is helping my family and me fight inflation. Not only are they lowering prices all over the store, but man, with those fuel savers, I save a ton at the pump every time I get gas. I love seeing that pump roll back to prices that I had when I was back in high school. And this week, you're going to have a chance to save. Thursday only, save 30 cents per gallon on gas with every $60 you spend on groceries. The more you spend, the more you'll save on your next fill-up, only at Hy-Vee.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture with daily use.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online, no medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/sports. Ethos.com/sports.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Baseball's officially back, and you can make opening day and every other game day more exciting with Underdog. I love the Underdog app, and I love baseball season, so you know I'm going to have a ton of fun. To play, choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats, strikeouts, home runs, hits, and more. And they've got all your favorite leagues, teams, and stars to choose from. You can create entries with all baseball selections or mix and match across other sports as well. Millions of fans have already won billions with making plays on Underdog. Their app has over 100,000 five-star reviews and millions of players. Download the Underdog app and sign up now using the promo code BOB to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus credits when you make your first deposit. That's promo code BOB to get up to $1,000 in bonus credits instantly upon first deposit. Must be 18 and over and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
And Doug. Quickly, Moo. We don't have much time. This Liberty ad is already almost over. We only have a few precious seconds to remind people to customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Okay. Well, I guess we had more time than I thought.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
Barbecue season is back. Hey, it's Ellen. And this is Sarah Beth. And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is that zesty barbecue sauce. I love that it was a little sweet, a little tangy, and with the mac and cheese.
I feel like I tasted the brown sugar bacon first. It was the absolute best combination. Pro tip, 3 sandwiches are always better than 1.
Order the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich and our Coca-Cola on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-5795. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-5795. That's 800-583-5795. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Brought to you by Urban Air.
Urban Air is where fun takes flight. With our awesome attractions, it's always an adventure. Visit urbanair.com today to find your local park and book your tickets, membership, or birthday. Urban Air, let them fly. Attractions vary by park.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Applied today at bakeru.edu. We start with What's Trending. It is opening day 2025. Vern's on Deck show starts in less than 25 minutes. First pitch a little after 3 o'clock right here on your home for the Royals, 96.5 The Fan. The news from out here today has been, well, Vinnie Pasquantino in the lineup. No worry there after all the talk. He's going to DH, though, so it could be a bit before he plays first base. But not going to have the IL stint, not going to miss any games at this point in time. So great news to see Vinnie batting third today. That means Kevin Biggio, one of the newer members of the Royals, going to play first base, at least for the time being. But as we talked with JJ Picollo earlier, the Royals general manager, don't be surprised if you see a lot of games where guys get moved, 6th inning, 7th inning, 8th inning, whatever. Like all of a sudden some guys are playing some different spots than what we initially saw in the opening on the lineup card, right?
I hadn't necessarily considered it that way overall, but that does make some sense, I would say, generally speaking, that would be the case because, you need a little more flexibility, and They do like to pinch hit. They do like to pinch run. They like to use the depth of their roster overall. Next up on What's Trending, what we just mentioned with Vern, Tanner Bybee has been scratched for food poisoning from starting for the Cleveland Guardians today. So their opening day starter is out. Ben Lively, the former Royal, not a Royal of note. You would not remember his time here in Kansas City.
I just think
he'd
of
been
Blake
cut
Lively
by a number of teams over the course of time. He'll actually make the start in place of Bybee for the Cleveland Guardians. The Royals up to now about a minus 180 favorite to win the game today as a result of that. So the book's kind of reflecting that a little bit. But no Tanner Bybee today. It'll be Lively versus Ragans.
Elsewhere in Major League Baseball, we know it's opening day across the entire league. The Toronto Blue Jays tried one last push before the Blue Jays season began to get a deal done with Vlad Guerrero Jr. If you guys haven't been following that, he, of course, wants a mega deal. He's due to get one this offseason, and he said, hey, if you want to make this happen, get to my number before the start of the season because I'm not negotiating in season. So the Blue Jays have presented another offer. No indication that suggests that he's going to actually sign that deal. But that's some news across the majors. I guess there's probably some games that start here in the next 15 minutes or so in the big leagues too. To keep an eye on. I don't believe we've had a game yet. Yeah, first game starts in about 20 minutes. Brewers, Yankees, Orioles, Blue Jays. The first two games of the day, and then the Royals are part of a big group of games starting around that 3:10 first pitch in baseball.
Like you mentioned, the Blue Jays, by the way, that's why like Vlad Guerrero Jr., who said he would negotiate up to the beginning of the season.
This is it.
The beginning of the season is in 30 minutes. They reportedly made another offer to Vlad Guerrero Jr. Doesn't sound like that deal's going to get done. There's still a part in the deal. All the reports are is if Vlad Guerrero Jr. thinks in the open market he can make $600 million.
Saw Soto's
and deal. Vlad is in the, the Blue Jays have largely been in the $400 to $500 million range. No offense. If I think I can get it, I'm going to get it.
Elsewhere on What's Trending, I know it's all about baseball today, but the Sweet 16 is going on a little bit later on this evening. The first game is going to be BYU and Alabama. 2-6 matchup, 6:09 tip-off on CBS. Alabama, 4.5-point favorite. Other games tonight, 1 seed Florida versus 4 seed Maryland, 1 seed Duke against 4 seed Arizona. Then the late game tonight, how about 10 seed Arkansas taking on the 3 seed Texas Tech Red Raiders? That one doesn't tip till 9:09. So this baseball game will be well over. You can enjoy the baseball game opening day, and you can still catch some Sweet 16 action later on tonight. That is What's Trending here on Cody and Gold. Of course, also mentioned as we have throughout this hour, tomorrow, hope to see all of you out at Hollywood Casino. Vern's excited. We're all excited for an awesome roundtable discussion with Michael Massey, Kyle Isbell. Vern's going to lead that and handle all of that. Everybody else from 96.5 The Fan, we're just going to be hanging out. We're going to be listening as well, hanging out with you guys, watching some basketball afterwards as well. Hollywood Casino, 6 o'clock. Tomorrow night is where it all begins. It's free. Must be 21 or older to enter. You and I were out here yesterday for workout day and had a chance to catch up with today's opening day starter, Cole Ragans. All right, we're joined here on opening day by Royals opening day starter Cole Ragans on 96.5 The Fan. So before we get into some of the opening day festivities a little bit, I know you guys were just down in Arlington, and I saw that the team went to Six Flags. I don't know, are you the roller coaster guy, or is that somebody else?
I am not a roller coaster guy. I mean, I hate flying, so a roller coaster is just not my thing. I think I went golfing instead of roller coastering because I've never liked roller coasters. I'd just sit there and watch. I'm scared of them.
I don't like is it heights in general? Because I'm terrible. They give me a hard time. I can't. Even at Kaufman now, upstairs, it's struggle.
Heights and the spinning around upside down, I'd throw up.
Have you considered you don't have a great job for I hate flying? That sentence, you know how often you fly as a big league player.
Yeah, I know. There's like 3 or 4 of us that we just look at each other when it starts getting bumpy and we're just like, golly, cover my face and wait for it to stop.
Who's the guy on the team that I guess maybe just acts like a little kid on the roller coaster? I know you weren't there this go around. You say you were golfing, but in general.
I'm trying to think who loves like roller coasters.
Pretty much we're asking who's the biggest kid. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I saw Mac was screaming like a little girl on there one time, so definitely not him. But I don't know, honestly.
I know, like, it's still so early in your big league career. Like, how much does it still, like, the opening day part of it, right? I'm the opening day starter for the beginning of the baseball season for the Royals. How much does that still hit you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's I don't even know if I have words, It's exciting. Still get the nerves just as much as ever. Like you said, I mean, I haven't been haven't been up that long, but opening day is always exciting. I mean, even watching the guys that have been around for 10 plus years, they're super excited just like the rest of us. It's I don't think it'll ever change. It's super exciting. I'm looking forward to it. Just to see this place packed, obviously gives you the jitters just seeing all the fans, for the first time again. It's super exciting.
You said the jitters. I mean, do you still get that on an opening day?
I get that every day. Every time I pitch, I'm a very nervous guy. Hard to eat, hard to keep food down. I go through it whether it's start 1 or start 33. It doesn't matter. I'm always nervous.
I guess like to that point a little bit, like there was a whole big spring training storyline of like you got hit kind of hard in a spring training game. It's like, nah, I don't like that. Like maybe the words like it pisses me off still, right? Like to be bad in a spring training game. Like, does the nervousness come from the competitive part, or like how do you think that works for you? If
I definitely
even in a
think
spring training game you don't like having bad outings,
Yeah, I mean, you always hear, it's spring training, don't pay attention to spring training numbers, and there's a part to that, but overall, you still don't want to go out there and suck. I mean, I still get pissed off about it, but no, I mean, just I think it's more of like I get nervous because it's you want to do so good. Like it's a thing where it's like, it's not I've prepared for this. I've worked hard for this. I've done my notes. I've done my homework. I know what I need to go out there and do and execute, but it's baseball. Sometimes you execute a really good pitch and it gets hammered. So it's one of those things where it's just kind of like, you just get nervous for what's to come. And, some days it's a good day and some days it's not. And, once I get out there, once I get on the mound, it's gone. It's like, now I'm locked in, I'm ready to go. But, leading up to it, I've got some nerves, stomachs, churning and all that.
We're talking to Royals opening day starter Cole Ragans here on 96.5 The Fan. Do you approach this season any differently? Last year, your goal was to get to the postseason. You ended up pitching a lot more innings because of that. You go into this with the mindset of like almost expecting that you're going to have to pitch in October?
100%. That's definitely an expectation. That's our goal. Make it farther. End goals to win it all. That's what we work for in the off season. It's spring training, preparing for, and throughout the season, every game matters. I mean, I wouldn't say there's some little things that I've been working on. Like cutting walks down, stuff like that to get deeper into games and, little things like that. But the overall goal is the same. I'm trying to go out there and compete and win. That's my main goal, is to win. I don't care how I get there. I don't care how I do it, but to win. That's all that matters.
Was it nice to, you didn't know how the offseason was going to go, to end up with, you, Walker, Lugo back together? I know you got other guys in there too, but, to get the core part of the rotation that was there last year, to have that, back and that, I don't know, camaraderie and all the stuff you guys are kind of used to.
Yeah, I mean, we're a pretty close-knit team. We do a lot of things outside of the field, but, us starting pitchers, we talk a lot. We talk a lot in games, that kind of stuff. So, obviously Lugo was coming back, but to get Walker back was huge. He's a big part, on the field, off the field. He's, one of the best teammates you'll ever have. Just unbelievable. Obviously, what he did for us on the field last year was unbelievable. Had an unreal year. Big part. We wouldn't have made it as far as we did without him. But what he does behind the scenes that people don't really see is just as important and just as big. He's just he's one of our leaders.
I just like the way you guys describe it. The note taking part, that's been the thing for you, right? I take all the notes. It's not falling into group work, right? Do they copying your notes? How does it work? How does the collaborative part of this work?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got a different way. Lugo can remember stuff like no one I've ever seen before. He's a very visual guy, and just can remember stuff. He'll remember facing a guy from 2 years ago and remember what he did, and it's by pitch, and so we all have our different way of going about it. But then when we brainstorm, we come to the same agreement on how to pitch a guy for the most part. But we brainstorm. Those guys have done this for a while, and so it's me asking them questions what do we'll be sitting in the dugout. So let's say Waka's throwing, me and Lugo are sitting there, and the other starters, and it's, hey, what are you throwing here? What would you throw here? Even though we don't have he's more of a spin guy than I am, but just it's like he's like, I'd go here because he just went here, and it's just like kind of, you know, brainstorming with each other. But like on start days, you know, we meet with Sal and Freddie and Sweeney and go over it, and you know, Sweeney's done his homework, Sal and Freddie have done theirs, and we've done ours, and it's, you know, 3-4 minds coming together, and you know, at the end of the day, it's like, oh, I saw this, what do you got on this? And it's like, oh, actually, you know, I like that, or I see this is why I wouldn't do that, or you know, little things like that. So
Lastly, you mentioned the note-taking, and I don't know if this goals is something that you keep internal and don't share, but do you have some individual goals here for the season? There are things that you wanted. You got 223 strikeouts last year, so you were pretty close to the top of the league already in that.
yeah, I mean, you know, obviously the more innings, the better. So that thing, but I mean, my biggest goal is to win. As many wins as I can possibly help this team get is my main goal. Like I said earlier, however I can do that, whatever I have to do, you know, is what I'll do. But I just want to win. That's all that matters.
So that was our conversation with Cole Ragans yesterday here at Workout Day. He, of course, is an hour and 15 or so minutes away from taking the bump in his first start in the Royals' first game of 2025. As we said with Vern, it's like, what else do you want from the guy in terms of level of performance?
That's it. I'll take identical performance.
Exact same season. You know, for him personally, you know, yeah, I would love for him to say he won a Cy Young or something, but in terms of numbers and actually how he pitched.
Maybe a couple less walks, but, like, I'm not even going to be that nitpicky about that.
But you heard him. He was critical of himself, right? Like, you know, his own critic saying, you know, if there's one thing, obviously winning ultimately is all he cares about, and I believe that. But, you know, he wouldn't mind cut back some walks a little bit, and we'll see how it goes first game today against a familiar opponent, you know, and now for the expectation for the team, the bar to be raised, I think every player individually is trying to raise the bar without trying to, like, do too much at the same time. And he truly is one of the, 3-4 guys on the team where he's like, all right, I know what I'm getting. I'm not going to even worry about it. There's way more questions about other guys on the roster than him, that's for sure.
Drew, I can't remember if we got your official answer, so before we get out of here today,
I don't think so.
Let's make sure that we talk at least about our official predictions for the season, as we kind of did ours a little bit earlier. I was at 89 wins, Gold. You were at 90. We seem to feel like the season's going to go in a very similar capacity, and you and I both think that number, 89-90, is good enough for the American League Central.
I do. You know, I think there will not be 3 teams out of the Central this year that make the postseason.
I think it's going to be 2.
I think it'll be down to 2. And in the 90 number, as much as it is about the Royals, it's about the rest of the division as well. And while the White Sox will not be a 40-win team, I think they're like a 55-win team. So is that are the Royals able to be as dominant against them? Are they going
only 12-3 this year instead of 14-1?
But that matters if
they were.
I mean, that could actually matter, right?
Yeah, a couple of games.
But it sounds like I don't want to get way ahead of myself. It's game 1 today. But even a quick 3-game series to open this thing up against Cleveland from a divisional perspective, and we're talking about at the end of the year when it comes down to a game or two, like even this series, like I'm not trying to build up this series, but
you're trying to say this decides it. When you lose a division by a game or two, technically losing a game or two now could end up being the difference at the end.
You start your season against a team that won the division last year.
Make a statement.
For obvious reasons. You want to win this opening series and kind of set the tone for the season.
How many wins you got, Drew?
87.
87. Hater. I'm just kidding.
Last year we were all
one win better than last year.
Last year we were 76, 77, 78.
And we don't talk about it ahead of time, so we end up in a very similar
And this year we're all very, very close.
I hope we're wrong by 10 games again and they win in the mid-90s.
Yeah. That'd be great, you know, of course.
Well, if I'm wrong by 10 games on the positive, that means they won 100 games. So I don't think I'm going to be wrong by 10 games on the positive end. I can tell you that. I don't think they're getting to 100. The question is, can they avoid having the fall back to 82 or 83? Vegas will tell you the over-under is 82.5 for this team.
I still think that's low.
I do as well.
The final 180 seconds of the show brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Results every week, and then receive free support for life online at awaken180weightloss.com. No, I think this is you know what it is like I feel like that this is a truly solid Major League Baseball team, but also has an ace-level starter and a superstar.
Yep.
So, like, all the other components make for a solid baseball team, a competitive one, a 500-ish baseball team, right? Like, you'd put it on paper and you'd roll it out most years. You'd be like, not bad, guys. Good effort. But they have arguably the best player in the entire sport in Bobby Witt Jr. and one of the 5 best starters in all of baseball last year in a lot of ways in Cole Ragans. And so that combination just gives me so much confidence. That's why I'm getting to that 89 win total when I'm making a prediction. I thought about 90, 91, 92. I had to take myself back a couple of wins. I was in the 90s there for a while.
But some of it is also looking at the other teams in the division. For all the question marks we might have at certain areas, and does the rotation fall back? I mean, Minnesota, always an injury question with them. Royce Lewis is already hurt. The Detroit Tigers, they didn't get Alex Bregman. We'd be having a different conversation maybe about them taking a bigger leap past the Royals. And then Cleveland, here we are. It's like everybody counts them out every year, and they still find a way to win the division. But they didn't do anything that gets you overly excited. So that's why this thing is going to be so close. It's why every single projection, whether we're talking about a betting market, whether we're talking about Pacoda and otherwise, like, these teams are all within like 2 to 4 games. I think even in Vegas, you're talking about 81 to 84 or 83 or 81.
Different books have different people winning it. Different people as favorites. Different people as the second, third, and fourth favorites. Minnesota is the most consensus favorite, but some books have the Royals or the Guardians as the favorite. Some have, it's all over the place. Everyone thinks this is a dogfight. Everyone thinks that this is going to be a division that is up for grabs every single day. So, to your point, today, Cole Ragans on the mound. You know what? I don't want to have to go into Game 3 last year where, Game 3 last year, I was like, oh, God, please win. Don't get swept to open the season.
It's amazing how quick it happens.
Please, Brady Singer, please save us from feeling like things are getting bleak in a hurry and too many Aprils and March I've seen before. Just win one today so I can just, be stress-free.
Totally with you, but with that said, because of what they did, I don't think that should be the same convo. If they were to start 0-2, all right, nobody wants that. But if they were, I don't think you should be as concerned as you would have been, as you were last year.
Sure.
This team has shown enough where we shouldn't act like, oh my gosh, they're just done.
Sunken ship.
No. Yeah. I think this squad, while it's a new year, should have earned a little bit of faith that if they were to get off to a bad first week. That we shouldn't panic. But I know that won't be how people react. But you know what? Cole Ragans today, for the sake of everybody and for our show fund, how about 7 strikeouts? How about a win? If
a Renfroe homer, a Massey homer.
Just be the back of his baseball card again. Get to 22 homers this year. Start with 1 today, and we're in business, man. We're in business.
This year we didn't have to hold on to an Hermes bag for one of Q's.
That was 2 years ago.
Close. That
right?
was 2
years ago.
We didn't have to save
Very
a
nice
tent.
family.
We didn't have to save a tent from nearly murdering an employee. It's been a really solid opening day this year.
Yeah.
Drama-free all day.
Sellout crowd.
80
Beautiful
degrees
weather.
later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Vern on Sunday will be wearing a coat, though. But today, enjoy it. Sunday won't be great weather. Today we can enjoy it. And Vern is all set to go. It's great to talk some baseball once again throughout the entire 4-hour show today. And tomorrow, you're going to be out. Bink will be with me. We'll talk
I got to
some
do
more baseball.
Dance Dad stuff tomorrow. I got to go watch my daughter compete in her solo contest tomorrow.
There you
She's
go.
going to destroy those other kids. It's not even how it works, but try to get her first.
You're that dad, huh? Okay.
No.
Yeah.
She finished second last year.
We'll talk to you tomorrow, 10 to 2. Up next, though, Vern's first on-deck show of the 2025 season right here on your home for the Royals, 96.5 The Fan.
This is Cody and Gold on your new